Well, damn, shit, goddamn. If y'all is new to the channel, this is You Ain't Shit for Watching. I'm your host, Donnie. Listen, more and more on the internet, I see this term being used on a consistent basis. Pick me. We're gonna talk about what the fuck the pick me is. We're gonna talk about who are pick me's. We're gonna talk about all that shit. But today, it's an interview with Celebrid. How you doing, love? How you feeling? How's your day?
Oh, my day is going good. Thank you for asking.
So recently, you made a post. You always make posts that go viral, but today
Right.
you made a post. Well, not even today. A couple days ago, you made a post that went super viral overnight. And overnight, it's a hard thing to do because motherfuckers sleep, and you disturbed and bothered a whole lot of fucking people. Can you tell me what the post was talking about?
So the post that I shared on my Facebook was in regards to Meg The Stallion and Tory Lanez, the domestic dispute that they both
Uh,
had.
uh, uh,
So
uh,
I heard
uh,
through a lot of outlets what went down, but nothing was confirmed. Nothing was said that this is exactly what happened. These came from two different sources that support both sides. So when I posted it on my Facebook, it went viral overnight. Where I'm almost at 100,000 shares today. It's been up a couple days, but um, since then I've received probably 10 total death threats. I can honestly confirm that half of those have come from Black women who have families, who have kids, and they go this hard for someone that they will never meet. They're going this hard for a woman that they don't even know personally. They're saying what I posted was false, but they're telling me what kind of character Meg has, and they don't even know her personally. So the same stuff
so,
they're telling me I'm doing wrong, they're doing wrong as well. So it's hypocritical shit.
so let me slow it down. Let me bring it back. Let me run it back to what the story is, right? So the original story on it was Meg The Stallion got shot. Meg The Stallion
Right.
got shot. She was out with Tory Lanez. She was out with Tory Lanez, and her friend or a friend allegedly said Tory Lanez shot her. And then a post came up on Twitter, I believe, and the Twitter post said, "Y'all don't understand. Black women are not protected." So from that, a whole lot sparked. But basically, it was about the protection of black women.
Right. And I honestly think that post came right after 50 Cent made he posted a meme on his Instagram of Meg Thee Stallion being Ricky from Boys in the Hood running from getting shot and made that a joke. He then took it down, but women attacked him anyway. My thing is Meg Thee Stallion is known for her violent behavior. There's many videos of her talking about how her previous dude, they would hit on each other like they was both like niggas in the park. So she has a history of being very violent and territorial. So my thing is, when she saw Tori flirting with Kylie, I think that this is what happened. They got into it. It continued in the car, and that's what happened. Because now she's saying she got shot in both feet. I'm not saying that she didn't get shot, but I know that nobody's gonna shoot somebody in both their feet just because they're Meg Thee Stallion. You did something to provoke that behavior. Was it right to be shot? No. No one deserves to be shot at all, period. But don't act like the victim, like you're not violent. Don't act like you just got shot in your feet just for knowing how to bust it. You know, that's not why she got shot. An issue happened in that club that proceeded in the car in which she was shot. At the end of the day, she can come on, her IG and cry about everything that happened. But until we hear Tori's side, that's just one side. So women are listening to her one side and running with it. Oh yeah, she's right. And at the end of the day, there's always two sides. So until Tory comes out and says his side, I'm not siding with just her because I know that it takes two. He didn't, or this person didn't shoot you in both your feet because you were just being a Christian woman in the club. Let's just keep that all 100. You're not going to get shot twice in your feet just for nothing. And at the end of the day, if you want to feel protected, stop hanging around with niggas that ain't shit. This is the second relationship this woman got into where this it didn't work out. The other guy was saying how she was trash and crazy. Now she's in another relationship and it's the same behavior. And then if you look at her history, it seems like every boyfriend she gets with, there's an issue. She has not been with one guy where there wasn't a domestic issue. And nobody can sit up and say I'm wrong. Look at her track record. She's a beautiful girl. I've never judged her, never said she was ugly. I'm just talking about a situation that was brought to light. And women
So
went so hard
basically,
for her.
you said the common denominator is her. And I
Yeah.
just want to announce because already I've got a couple people that's dropped onto the panel. I see y'all on here. I see y'all ready to hop on. Really, what I want to do off tops is I want to ask a couple questions to Celebrid. Daphne Sutton. I want to ask her a couple questions, and then I'm gonna let y'all come on in. I'm gonna let the floodgates open, right? So we're gonna ask a couple questions off that because I see a lot of people are mad at you. I see a lot of people are giving you death threats, like you said. I want to get into the crux of it, right? So, are you a woman who has been abused? Because that's something I've seen. Have you been abused? Are you trying to get men's favor because you're somebody who's been abused and you just want daddy's love from some strange ass man?
No, but to answer your question and to be brutally honest, yes, I was in a domestic violence relationship for 4 years where he almost took my life. Now, I don't talk about that on Facebook. I've only mentioned it once in the entire 11 years that I've had my Facebook. I've mentioned it once that I was a domestic violence victim. So if I wanted to pander, if I wanted people to support a GoFundMe page and give me some money and send me donations, I will post about that every day. Domestic violence is real. But see, unlike Meg the Stallion, what I did was, even though I was in that relationship, it taught me a lot. It taught me to be selective. I never went through that again in my life. Why? Because I was selective with the next man that I got with. I waited to give him some. I waited to see if he'd change up. See, we all have a choice. You can't keep saying that these men ain't shit and that this woman ain't crazy when every relationship she was in, it led to the cops being called. It led to her having a dispute. You chose to be with these no good ass niggas. So the man that I was
Okay.
with for 4 years, he taught me what not to bring into my next relationship, and he taught me what to look for in my next relationship. And my next relationship, I ended up getting married. Been with my husband for 10 years. So I'm not judging women, telling them be like me because I'm perfect. I'm telling them you have a choice, queen. Make a better choice, and you won't have these issues. You wouldn't be trying to poke your toes, poke your feet. If you would just make better choices than men. It's bigger than
So
taking your ass and taking your tongue out. You need to make better choices on who you sleeping with. Period.
so you answered another question that I already had. Did you have a man? Are you married? You're married.
I am. I'm
So
married. Yes, sir.
let me ask you this: how long have you been married?
I've been married for 5 years. In January will be 5 years, and me and my husband have been together for 10 years.
Are you happily married?
I am. I'm happily married. I'm not saying that our marriage is perfect. We've had some rocky things happen, but I'm private about that. So I didn't, I don't go on
So
Facebook
your
and post
marriage
about
is
it. But
like everybody else's marriage, basically.
yes, of course. Yes,
No, I
sir.
don't. I don't think
Yes.
I've never heard of anybody with a perfect marriage. We just heard Will and Jada didn't have a perfect marriage, and motherfuckers looked at them like
Facts.
they was the pinnacle.
Facts.
Okay. Is your husband putting the shoe to your ass unless you say some Facebook posts that are pandering to men?
No, no. My husband knows that I say what's on my heart. I speak freely. My husband is a very strong black man. He's an engineer that holds a bachelor's degree himself. He's very educated. He lets
Wait a
me
minute.
say what I want to say. He ain't no
So
thug.
your
He ain't no nigga
husband's
on the street.
not some regular ass Tyrone nigga
No,
who
sir. No,
he's
he
not.
is a
Is he a
no,
homosexual?
no. He is an engineer. He works downtown. He has a very good job. Has held it almost 8 years. Um, my husband supports everything I do. The only time he gets upset is when I get a death threat because he's like, okay, look, now I gotta whoop some ass. See,
As
that's the
any
only
man
time.
who is worth his salt, he shouldn't let his wife get get pushed up against the wall. Okay,
Right,
so
right.
we understand that you are happily married. You have a husband that is worth something, right? He's not a nigga who's just basically sitting here stuck with
With a
you.
record, a nigga with a record that will
Not
do
even,
some
I wouldn't
stupid
even
shit. Get
hold it
out.
against him if he's a record. If he's doing something productive, I don't give a fuck if he's had a
I
record,
only
right?
I only threw that out there because someone said that he had a record, so I just wanted to clear that out. He don't have no record. That's why I said that. My
Mm.
bad. Sorry. Sorry
Sounds
about
like
that.
some hurt, but it is
Yeah.
what it is.
Facts.
Do you have some kids?
No, I don't have kids.
Okay, okay, okay. Uh, do you understand why these? Actually, let me backtrack. What is a pick me? What is a pick me? Because I, for the longest part, I've never quite understood what a pick me was. Because I felt like it was some dumb shit to begin with, so I never jumped into it. What is a pick me from your understanding?
So, because lately women like to post the definition that's on the internet. Urban Dictionary is their source. Urban Dictionary is a site where a random person like me can make up a name and just put a definition of what I think it is. There's 5 definitions of pick me right now on Urban Dictionary, and if you sum it all up, they're basically saying that I'm a woman who panders to men because I want their attention. I need to be wanted. I need to feel like they love me and only me. And that is not the fucking case. What hurts my feelings is when I post about black women, like I posted about Sandra Bland just less than a week and a half ago, and none of those women said a damn thing on that post about this woman being murdered and her not killing herself. They had nothing to say. But the minute I post about a Kardashian or Meg the Stallion or Cardi B, they are like, oh my gosh, 200,000 shares, and I'm getting called a pick me over 1,000 times. So it makes no sense where their energy is at. You know, they want to be a hot girl, but they don't want to address the real issues going on in our community. They want to twerk and stick the tongue out all night, and that's what they like to do. So when you talk about their favorite celebrity, they go hard. They go hard for that celebrity like they hang out on a daily basis. And these celebrities don't even know their name. So for them to defend someone they don't know, it's baffling to me because it's just Facebook. If I was to go on Facebook and say I feel like Meg the Stallion is beautiful and she don't gotta shake her ass every 9 seconds, I'd be called a pick me. That's what they're gonna. That's if I went on Facebook right now and say, "Women, you got to do better with who you sleep with." I'm called a pick me. I'm called a pick me no matter what I say. That's the sad
Okay.
part. If I say
Okay.
Kanye West needs mental help, I'm a pick me because I'm catering to Kanye West. Ain't that a bitch?
Are you a black woman?
I am a black woman, yes sir.
Are you mixed? Are you biracial?
No, I'm all nigga. I'm all black.
Where are your people? What's the term we're using now? Foundational Black Americans.
What?
Are your people from basically? Are your There's a foundational Black America. There's ADOS, American descendant of slaves. Are you an immigrant? Do you come from another place?
No. My dad is from Indiana. My mother was from Chicago. So I'm
Oh,
I'm
okay,
I'm a
so
fully black.
nigga
Don't
niggas.
have nothing. Nigga niggas. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So do you hate black women?
No, I don't. I'm a black woman myself. So I want black women to do better. And I know a black woman challenged me today and told me that I must have a degree in accounting because I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Now, the reason why I hold black women accountable so much is because I worked for the state for 3 years as a case manager. And I witnessed majority black women with no dad around, and it was them with a bunch of kids. And I would ask them, if this guy was nothing after the first kid, why'd you have two and three and four and five? Oh, because I don't know. You do know. They want a man so bad in their life, they don't care if he's no good. They don't care if he's not going to love them like they deserve to be loved. So I'm a pick me for telling you to get a man that's going to love you like you deserve to be loved. Why do I got to be a pick me? But Derek Jackson can come out and say, oh, love every woman. Come on, dudes. You got to do better. Spend money on them. Take them shopping. Buy them designer clothes. And he's a king. He's their king. But when Daphne says women, choose better. You deserve better. Oh, she's a pick me ass bitch. So he's not a panderer who tries to sell books. I'm the panderer, and I'm not selling anything. All my stuff is free. So there's a difference. He's a pick me. I'm not because I'm already picked. I have no reason to be on here trying to cater to men when I got a man at home. I'm trying to help my
So let
black
me
women
so
do
let me
better.
ask you a crazy question because I know you. So do you hate your mother?
No, I don't.
I
I
know
don't
that
hate
your
my
mother
mother at
passed away
all.
at an early age. Did she abuse you?
No, my mother never abused me, but I got to witness my mother love my father like a woman is supposed to love a man. She knew her place. She was there for my dad. When my dad would work those big 12-hour shifts, when he came home, his food was in the oven with aluminum foil over it, so he could heat it up and eat it. She was the epitome of a real woman growing up. But
How dare
when my
your
mom
mother
got
honor a man?
Yes. And even when my mother was paralyzed from the neck down and suffered for 2.5 years, she still did whatever she could for my dad, what she could do. Even though she couldn't walk, even though she couldn't physically hug him, she did what
So
she
I have
could to
one
keep us
one
sane.
final question, and what I'm going to do is after this point is I'm going to open it up to the panel. Do you use your mother as an excuse for sympathy or I guess more pick meism, as it were?
No, sir. Never made a post and said, hey, everybody, just wanted to remind you, my mother's been dead this long. Can you send money to my GoFundMe? The only time I bring up my mother is when it's relevant. If a woman tells me, well, you must not have been raised by mother and father, I will say, yes, I was raised by my father. My mom passed when I was 16 years old. So her dying, it was no one's fault. So I was actually raised by my father from the age of 16 until I moved out the house. And my father taught me how to be a damn good woman, and I take those values and I try to show women those values, but they mix that up with me trying tell them what to do, and then they call me a pick me in turn. And I think that most of them say that because inside they know they fucked up and they don't want to hold themselves accountable. One thing I learned as a child, you gotta hold yourself accountable. I used to be reckless with my mouth. I used to cuss out any black man that came in my path. F you, F you. And this older black man took me to the side and said, "Wow, you're such a beautiful black woman, but your mouth is ugly. When you open your mouth, it's just ugly." He really broke me down. He said, "You are too good of a black woman to have a mouth like that, like a nigga. That's not you." He said, "Take my advice. Work on yourself. Acknowledge that you have a problem with anger and work on it." And that's what I did. And I worked on it. And I learned how to speak to people even when I was upset. And I saw a big turnaround. Everybody wanted to be around me then. Everybody wanted to let me play on their basketball team because they knew I can control my anger. But when I was cussing men out, no one wanted to mess with me. They all called me loudmouth and ratchet. I didn't like that name. So instead of making excuses saying, "Oh, my mom died when I was 16, I worked on it based off of what the advice that was given to me. I'm that guy giving these women advice, but they're calling me a pick me instead of taking my advice and working on themselves.
It sounds like a lot of hurt feelings. So what I'm gonna do at this point is I'm gonna go ahead and open up the panel. I'm gonna let anybody who wants to come on. I'm gonna drop the link into the chat. Kev, if you there, Black man being brutally honest, go ahead and drop the link in for me. I'm gonna open it up. I got two people here waiting. Let's see what they got to say. Welcome to the panel, y'all.
What's going on?
How y'all living?
Good, Donnie. How are you?
Doing good, doing great. I got Cash Corleone and grown man business. How y'all living? What's popping? Y'all want to come on and say something to Daphne? What do y'all want to talk about?
What's up, Cash? What's going on? Daphne, how you doing, love?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, Queen. So I've known you for a long period of time.
Right.
Um, Donnie, not so much. However, I did get a chance today, just to take a break from the madness that I already had going on to read some of the comments that were posted to her page that have actually included her on other pages. And I find it quite baffling that a lot of the people who have this mentality of what a pick me woman is aren't holding themselves to a standard in which they should or could be able to judge other people. Um, in the time that I have known Daphne, I have not known her to be a confrontational, angry, bitter African American female, and I tend not to use ethnical descriptions as colors because saying black or white to me is colors in a crayon box. That doesn't describe an ethnicity at all. Whether you're black, African American, or if you're of mixed descent like myself. However, the comment that bothered me the most today specifically, and I kind of put it on a page. I didn't really inbox Daphne out of respect for her relationship, was the fact that the lady that was commenting is the person that actually seemed bitter. So most of the time I found that when people are lashing out or saying and doing things of that nature, it's because they have either a level of self-hate inside of themselves that they're trying to push off and get um, attention for, or they just generally have a distaste for that particular person because they have a limelight which they're not in. And I think that that's one of the biggest things in our community that we see is when somebody has reached a level of achievement to which we haven't gone to or can't get to, either because we don't have the plan or we're too prideful to ask the person to show us the way. We then start to take that type of behavior on those people.
Very well said. I agree. And I appreciate you coming in and saying your words on that post because, I was called the bitter person. And just based off of what she was saying to me to prove to her that I had degrees and prove all this stuff to her, I don't know you. I don't have to prove anything to you. My real friends know what I got. So I don't boast and brag about having 3 degrees. I mean, my heading says I have a master's. That don't mean I don't have one because I didn't put what it was in. It's Facebook.
In all honesty, you should be bragging about 3 masters. Motherfuckers can't even get a GED.
Well, technically, most of the time, the people who have the most knowledge aren't the people that post that knowledge to the forefront. You either learn by listening, and I was always told, this is a big philosophy of mine. You always speak once and you listen twice. That's what wise people do. And in instances like this, where you have somebody who is trying to admit that self-hate, and maybe it's not self-hate for her and a couple of the other people whose comments I read that were degrading in nature, but maybe they just haven't had that portion of their life open to where they know how to knowledgeably and sensibly explain to people what they have going on, or like I said, even open the forum to say, hey, I need help. But instead, I'll look at certain things that you have. Oh, I don't believe you had it. It's kind of like the best descriptive way to put it is President Trump, on President Obama. Where's your birth certificate? I don't believe you unless I see it. Same thing. Where's your degree? I don't believe it unless I see it. Why does it matter? If I tell you I have it, whether if I had it or not, that's none of your business. Yes, I could prove it to you, but in all walks of life, you're not God. I don't have to prove anything to you at all.
Now let me say this, Nadia. If you feel like coming on the panel, by all means, come on here. Have a question with have some questions going back and forth with Daphne. She's here. I'm gonna have it as a neutral panel. I want you to come on and express your concerns with her. My whole thing is Daphne can stand on her own points. She makes these points on a consistent basis. She stands by them, right? Therefore, she should be able to have a conversation with anybody who feels opposition to her. So the panel is open. I will drop it in there every couple of minutes to make sure people are knowing that you can hop onto this panel. But my personal opinion on it is a lot of people hate accountability, and that's what Daphne preaches. And if you hate accountability, this means that you either have some skeletons in your closet or you are reserving the right to not be accountable in the future. But y'all can go ahead.
Can we hear from Kevin or Cash? Can one of them also speak?
I was about to chime in. How's everyone doing, panel? How are you, Daphne?
Good.
Okay. And it's funny that Donnie says that everyone just hates accountability because one argument that I always hear is that men should be addressing the men and women should be addressing the women. But the argument I always throw back at people is women only want to be addressed the way they want to be addressed. It doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman. So why even say that in the first place? But this kind of thing sounds all too familiar. Daphne, would you agree that the reason why these women are so vitriolic and bitter toward you online is because of it might be a projection of what they go through in their real lives? I often find that women who often do that, often say BS, keep the BS going on, have some real deal BS going on in their lives. Seriously. Real examples.
I agree.
That's a fact. Actually, Daphne made a post not too long ago where she was talking about female accountability. And she was stating, you can't have 3 kids by this dude and have 2 kids by this dude and not be at fault. So but go ahead. Y'all put it back to the panel.
So
I'm glad you said that because go ahead.
Go ahead, Wayne.
No, I love when you talk because I think you're gonna say what I was gonna say. Please go ahead.
So here's one of the things that I can point out from the post that should give everyone a clear indication that there is a more significant problem with the people who are posting. And I'm going to semi-quote what was said. The ending statement or sentence, I guess I should say, said that you have to know that there's a problem when 90% of your followers are male. And I responded back by saying, this is the same person that is sitting in the same group as you making these comments. In my opinion, and I'm not a professional, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist, I don't have a college degree. But to me, it should be in plain sight that a person who spews something of that nature, one, has a jealousy issue, and two, is probably seeking the amount of attention that you're getting in an honest direction from men who are looking at an African American female who brings things to the limelight that's not negative or bashing men. Of course, your grouping or your following is going to grow when other men say, hey, you need to check this person out online. She's not actually bashing us, she's going to back for us. Yet this lady, on the opposite hand, is attempting to dethrone or to tear down a female who in our community, I should say, in the community, can be in New York, it could be in New Jersey, it could be here in DC, wherever, worldwide, that is trying to build something of the opposite of what we see in social media.
That brother made a strong ass point. So do you basically feel like these women are more or less angry with Daphne because she's presenting something that is different from the norm? And when I say different from the norm, I really mean not a failure perspective, because a lot of the times when you have these women online and they say some shit, it comes from a failure perspective. It's okay, having two kids by two different men is all right. Somebody gonna raise these kids, somebody gonna marry this, somebody gonna want this. And she doesn't present that image. Are you saying that Daphne presents a standard that these women are not able to comply with?
I I won't say that they can't comply with it. I won't say that they can't meet it. They don't know how to ask her for the tools to get the objective completed. In my opinion, and it's this, like I said, it's just my opinion, but you can look at her lifestyle. She's a graduate. She has a husband. She has an honest job. If you look at social media and the things of which we continue to watch that subconsciously program our mental state, what she has goes against the grain of popularity in society today. If you're ratchet, if you're loudmouth, if you're cursing people out, if you're screaming the whole "I'm independent, I don't need a man," woo woo woo, you're gonna do XYZ when I tell you, those are the things that get you attention on social media. Not
So
who
essentially, Megan the Stallion's whole persona, right? Megan the Stallion's whole persona is, I don't need a man, but I choose to be with a man. If I'm with a man, he gonna buy me this, that, and the third. He gonna accept me for what I am. Bad attitude, no. I think she says something to the why you want to fuck with me? You know I'm undefeated, even though she just got shot, so her
Yeah,
undefeated record is over.
correct.
yeah. If you want something to eat, the pussy is the kitchen. That's her
Name,
mentality.
put it this way: name me one female rapper or one male rapper who has been completely honest in the hip hop game, who's been successful. There's only been one, and that's Nas. And he's no longer really relevant as far as being in the limelight. Everybody else that's in the limelight now is teaching you to go against the grain, to teach you to go against your brothers and sisters, to call each other bitches and hoes, and that's a nigga, and this, that, and the third. She doesn't do that. It only comes out when you back somebody into a corner, such as her or myself.
Well, this brother came on the panel and really decimated, and I'm really hurt that ain't nobody came in opposition because I really want to hear what the opposition has to say.
Can we hear from
Um,
random woman too? A woman.
yeah, Random Woman, how are you doing today,
Hi,
sweetie?
Rain.
Oh my goodness. Hi, Daphne. I'm sorry. Hey, Donnie. Hey, Kel. I'm not familiar with you, Cash, calling on our grown man business, but good evening, everyone. But hey, Daphne.
Hey, Rain.
It is so good to see and to hear you and just to be around your energy. You know, it's definitely been a while, but I was not going to miss the opportunity to come up and just show support and just acknowledge you for who you are, the stand, and the difference that you make.
Thank you, Queen. I appreciate that.
So I'm working, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop back down, but thank you. And hey,
Before, can I get a quick question out of you? How do you see? Because you're a little bit of an older woman. You ain't old, but you're an older woman, right? You're not in your 20s.
I'm a woman of a
Um,
mature age. Yes, I am. I'm
Season,
very proud.
season. Say
Yes,
You're gonna
season.
get cussed out. You better
Say
get
no,
cussed
season.
out.
I just want to step. How do you look at the dynamic of what is going on in hip hop culture right now? I know you live in the H town, right? And the H town is where Megan Thee Stallion's from. The South is predominantly where they're pushing that city girls nonsense, right? How do you look at that music and this genre as an older woman?
Well, honestly, the same way that I did and would have when I was younger. Um, I honestly never knew about Megan Thee Stallion and so many others prior to YouTube and them making a big deal in the media. I am a woman who actually I listen to a lot of jazz. I listen to old school R&B, love music, classical, symphony. So I am a woman of a different caliber anyway, intentionally, and have been. So it doesn't register with me. I do consider people like her though to be worldly women, and I expect worldly women to act just like that, to act like worldly women. I have no other expectation.
Okay, well, I very much appreciate it. I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you get back to doing what you were doing, but I very much do appreciate you coming on the panel as a feminine personality, right? Coming to express your opinion. Um, you have a wonderful night, sweetie.
Thank you. You all too. I'm in the background.
Cash,
All
where
right.
you at? You been sitting on mute. What's going on, man?
I'm here. I mean, ain't too much I gotta say that hasn't been said already. Like, you know, I feel like a lot of the chicks that get mad when they see Daphne bullshit is because it's shining a light on something they know is wrong in them. Uh, Instead of them wanting to do better, they get angry at the fact that something that they know they're doing is wrong. They just want to continue doing it. You know what I'm saying? It's being pointed at. It's a sad thing that happens with a lot of people. But some people grow out of it. Some people don't want to grow.
Right. I feel you. Shoot, we
You
just
know,
had Sister George on here. Sister George is actually another woman who gets called to pick me on a consistent basis. So I'm waiting for her to pop back on.
Can
But I
Nadia
really
can
want to.
can Nadia get on too?
Now Nadia. So Nadia basically said she agreed with you. She felt like you was on point.
Oh, thank you,
Um,
Nadia. She's
but
beautiful.
I
Yes, Lord.
really the
She's
whole
very
point of this
beautiful.
conversation is I want to hear women who disagree with you, but I want to hear the basis for it. I want to know if there's something that we are all missing, if there's a underlying cause that was completely missed. Because from my perspective, a lot of what you say is just common sense, right? So I want to see if I'm missing a link in the chain.
That's my
Um,
thing. I wanna ask them questions because I see exactly where Daphne's coming from.
Well,
right.
I'm going to tell you guys personally, don't be disappointed because most of the time, the people who
They're
scream the
not.
loudest, in the comment section,
Arthritis.
they will not come to streams like this.
Oh, I know.
It's an unfortunate truth. Now, so who we have on the channel is Kev. He's one of my habitual line steppers. We run the network together. It's a couple other habitual line steppers, but Kev often does stories, and he's not in the vein of a Tommy Sotomayor. So let's get that out the way. Kev does not hate black women. Kev is married to a black woman. Kev always puts out stories where they consistently go and find a way to put down a black man. It'll be a woman who is doing something and she's in the wrong, but it was a black man's fault. Or it'll be a woman who's done something and it's not her fault at all. So Kev has a lot of experience and he reports on these things across the spectrum, might I add. He reports on a wide spectrum of things, but Kev sees these on a consistent basis, right? Kev, do you have some input to put in with this?
Yeah, as far as what the social media mentality.
Social media, standard publications, TV interviews that are going out. Why is what Daphne is saying is so controversial to these women?
Because no one wants to give up their advantage. These women have an advantage when it comes to the media words, being protected, being coddled, um, just anything that makes them look bad, they're in strong opposition to. They want to look good for everyone else. Um, I often, I often say this like they want to put it on a dog and pony show for other groups, whites, Asians, all that, but they don't think that black people are good enough to act good for. Anything that messes with their image, as far as as far as the majority of black women, and especially the kind that attack Daphne for her words, they don't want to look bad for anyone. It's narcissism. It's flat out narcissism. Is something that they project onto guys. That they say we display this. They say that we don't hold guys accountable, but for real, dude, seriously, black men do hold black men accountable. Black women don't hold black women accountable. They see themselves as being above black men. It's not me, and I'm not saying that it's all, but it's a large majority. And it's like you could be, like I've been in, like Donnie said, I've been in these kinds of discussions. I've been in back and forth. If I put out a fact that's indisputable, I get disrespected. Period. you know, and but the women, like if like women are actually afraid to side with the brothers if the brothers are right because they get attacked so viciously. So and Daphne has a power with that. So I can only imagine what Daphne is going through if a woman who's a virtual nobody can say something and get attacked by at least 5 or 10. So honestly to me, it's just a really bad narcissistic attitude. I mean, you can even notice it on the street. Our women generally don't like being told that they have a bad attitude. They don't like being told they have bad attitudes, and it really sucks because it just keeps the mess going. Period. Uh,
So I'm going to side with you and partially disagree.
okay.
And here's why. Um, I do honestly believe that part of the problem is or are us as a whole. And when I say us as a whole, I mean men in general. So you have a certain caliber of men, strong men, kings who are raised right, who will not put up with behavior with which women who operate like that, ratchet, loud, obscene, and things of that nature. We won't conform to stuff like that. However, you have another group of males who see that as, oh, that's how she is. They will put up with it. And therefore that empowers their thought process to think, hey, this is acceptable by a man. And if one man won't,
You hit the nail on the head. God
another.
damn.
And then the second fold of that would be the fact that women empower women, most of them empower women faster than men will empower other men.
Mm.
They'll stick behind one another, lie, and they will all stick together. A man will dog another man out in a heartbeat and say, "Oh no, it's not this, it's that," and that's not the truth. You understand what I'm saying? This, in my opinion, as an isolated incident where, and when I say isolated incident, I mean as in regards to what was posted today, because she gets this on a consistent basis. Um, it's not something that women in the industry or women outside of the natural of what a woman should act like can get paid from. It's not something that, it's not something that we as men will go look at on the internet and say, "Oh yeah, oh, she got a fat ass. Look at what she's showing," and tag your boys. But when you see a queen that's hard at work, that's fully clothed, that speaks eloquently, we don't tag them.
Mm.
So there, to me, there's more than just a systemic issue of what's going on now. It's widely spread in our community.
That is beautiful. I also want to welcome onto the show my habitual line separate sister. She the queen. Uh, Sister Danielle George. She runs the breakdown, a woman's perspective. She's also known as a pick me. How are you doing today, love?
Hey Donnie, hey everybody. I'm doing good. How's everybody doing?
We good,
Hello, Sister
Queen.
George.
Good, good.
Good. You guys are bringing about some really, really good points. Kev, I've been saying the same things for years. Um, it's a trip. It is really a trip. And the guy that just spoke with the scarf or the head,
Mosh.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's good.
But you made a really good point too. So good stuff.
So let me ask you this because you're often called a pick me.
Hmm.
What do you think a pick me is, and why do you think these women call you that?
I think when you typically agree with men or you understand men and you can empathize with where men are coming from, I think that I think actually the fact that you can call it out is what makes you a pick me. Men haven't, it's like you got a bunch of men saying the same things from coast to coast, different continents, everything, and they're saying the same things about American black women. And so when women start to notice ourselves and are able to identify the behaviors and the traits and the pathologies, and we're able to call it out, and we can side with the men and actually use common sense and logic, that makes a woman a pick me, in my opinion, or that's what they say makes her a pick me.
Preach.
Woo,
She
woo.
preached on that one.
Okay.
I agree
So
with that.
what are your experiences in being called a pick me? Because I know Daphne has her own. What are your experiences in being called a pick me? Why have you personally been called a pick me?
They have this movement called SYSBM, and you have so many black women that really have a problem with interracial dating. And I'm actually going to say black people, but let's be honest, the stigma is on black women when we see black men date out. And my whole thing is it's like, okay, well, we got shit that we need to get together. We need to focus on before um we really start to date. We got a lot of healing to do. But you got a group of guys saying that they saying fuck black women, they're done. And my whole thing is, first of all, I'm not gonna chase behind somebody that wants to leave. But then if people are leaving in mass, then it should tell me I'm the common denominator at some point. So at some point it's gotta be some self-reflection, some introspection, a bunch of things that need to happen with me. And so I kind of look at it like that. I don't know. Did that make sense?
Yeah, you made a lot of
No,
sense.
you made sense.
Okay.
So as a culture, what do you think it is that, and we've had it from a male's perspective, but what do you think from as a culture for black people, what do you think it is that drives this whole pick me movement forward, right? What do you think it is that makes these women consistently call you and Daphne, women who, who think like you, pick me's?
Because we're raised, American culture is basically feminism. And now I'm not gonna sit here and say that I don't empathize with feminists. I think, you know, everybody just gone through their set of shit. So I have empathy for everybody. But we have to understand the detriment that it's doing. But like Kevin was saying, nobody is going to fight against their own interests. Black women are not going to fight against their own interests. But it's still something that needs to be done because both sides are hurting, and I think we're suffering without each other. And so with the culture, I don't know. I don't know if there's any. Sometimes I just don't feel like there's any hope. I'm starting to be less hopeful about us.
You mean us as a whole or us as in women?
Us as in women. Because I'm starting to notice a culture of women that don't care. The men are starting to
Nope.
leave, and
Hmm.
it's about to get real cold, and I don't think we're actually prepared for what's about to happen, not like how a man would be.
I
So,
don't.
fellas,
Mm.
since I have you on the panel, there's three other black men on here. Now I have a black wife. Kev has a black wife. Now that leaves you, Cash, and you, grown man. Do you deal with black women? Are you with a black woman? I'm just curious, just because it's gonna come up. Somebody's gonna say, "Well, they probably ain't date black women." Are y'all with black women, dating black women, seeking black women?
Cash, I'm gonna let you go first.
I ain't never scared to admit that. Only thing I want is a black woman. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna sit there and act like black women they got some work they need to do. Right? You know, one of the favorite things I see, especially on social media, is you know I need a man that can handle me. You shouldn't
Oh
want to be
God.
handled. You know what I'm saying? Dogs get handled.
Mm.
Like, I mean, that's
But
one
you know
of
what?
the
Can I make a point to that?
Go right ahead, sis.
So, you know, with being on social media and having certain observations, right? So men will tell women that you can't really have um a whole like entire man, so to speak. So they'll say, you know, if a guy is real smart or whatever, he's not going to be able to do this in the bedroom, or if he's this way, he's not going to be, if he's good in the bedroom, he's going to be broke. Um and I think that men kind of put a lot of stigmas out about other men, but I feel like men will glorify certain men, then they'll down other men, and then they'll tell the women to down these other men, like with the educated lames, quote unquote. I've seen a lot of men come against them, but then they'll go against women for dating thugs. And it's like, I don't know, that sometimes it doesn't make sense to me.
because nobody wants to be on the low end.
Pretty much.
so, so grown man, I know you slid about that question. Are you with a Becky?
No. Now, I will tell you, I have dated outside my race. However, keep in mind that I am mixed. I'm not straight African American. Um, However, my preference are sisters. Um, I will not say that I will not. So the one thing I will disagree with is that I'm hearing we say we or women have to get their shit together. That may be true in certain instances, but it's also about who you decide to partner up with. If you know that a person after a certain amount of time is not what you're looking for, then take your hands off of another man's wife. That's about as plain as I can put it. Um, but then again, too, I also believe that our generation is different. We're in a generation that teaches people it's easier to throw things away than it is to fix them. And when I say fix, I don't mean take somebody who you know is a bad seed and just try to completely turn them around, because you can't shine a rotten apple. But if you have the 80-20 rule, you need to make some decisions. And a 60-40 split is always better. No relationship ever is going to be 50. A lot of people understand that. I think that a lot of people take in the fact that you see a person and you see a couple of things that you don't like in that person, and you immediately ask that person to change them. That takes time. If you really truly care about the person, if they're not doing something that's detrimental to your life or your mental wellness, then you should try to seek counseling. You should try to find out what's going on. And if all else fails, then you sit down and have an adult conversation. Okay, this is not the way in which I'm trying to proceed with my life. And at that time, that person will make a conscientious decision. Okay, this is something that I adamantly need to change because I love this person and I want this to work out, or they'll decide to walk. And either way, at that point, if you know you've given as much as you can give, you don't lose either way. But for me personally, I can't see myself dating anybody outside of a sister from the past experiences that I've had.
So let me move on to, because eventually I want to get into resolutions, right? We can't just talk about problems and not have a resolution. But let's move into some legitimate problems that we feel with in the community are an issue, right? So as a black man who dated for a large amount of years, and I was a player from the Himalayas, um, I always felt like it was a problem when I was dating women that they had kids. I didn't want to date a woman with kids. Do you feel like this is an issue within the black community? There's too many women with kids.
You're speaking to everyone?
Yeah, everyone.
Yeah, it's an issue when the marriage rates are low. If you've been taught like I was taught, I mean, I think that's still possible. And what I was taught was you don't go for the ready-made family. You want a family of your own. Now, people may see that as old-fashioned thinking, but there's still people teaching their kids that. And there's a lot of brothers who are success-minded that want their own family. And every time they turn around, and you can try to chalk it up to what areas they go in, but if every time they turn around and see a woman and she has a child on her arm, they're not going to want that. They want, like I said, driven brothers want their own. So, then that's the way I was thinking. And it took me a while, but I did eventually end up with a black woman who was level-headed and not completely crazy and trying to get me to kill myself every 2-3 minutes. I mean, it's this that's how it is. It's not easy, but yeah, it's cool. It's cool at this point, and we got a very special little person that we look after. So, but for those out there who haven't been as lucky as I consider myself to be, I would say hang in there and think about what you really want. If you feel, and so I would, I'm not an advocate for interracial dating, but I'm not opposed to it either. A lot of people don't understand that. Kevin, you and a black woman. Why would you think of me? I don't care. I just don't. I don't care who people date. I hate it as a talking point in the gender war. I really do, because a lot of that crap doesn't make sense. But it's but but it's like this. I can speak for the brothers and sisters can feel how they want to feel, but I just don't really care at this point. It's like we're so fractured as a community. It may take a long time before this is repaired. So do what makes you happy. I'm not going to be some pro-wax slow tip that's going to approach you and say you betrayed the race. Not if not if there's not any solid evidence that you are betraying the race. But just do what makes you happy at this point. There's a lot of BS out here.
So I want to welcome onto the show the Roger Report. He's actually another one of the habitual line stepper brothers that I got out here. His show is the Roger Report, and I think he does the Roger Report live. I am there, so we do currently have multiple people on here, too many. So I'm gonna cycle y'all out. So I know I pulled out cash. I'm gonna try and go through y'all and give y'all some time to come on and then cycle throughout. But how you doing, Raj?
Oh, everything's beautiful. Everything's beautiful.
So how do you feel on the subject thus far? Have you been listening?
I listened to a little bit. I cycled up to the beginning of the show just to kind of catch the things about Meg and that. Then I went to what was just happening to see about the different feelings people have towards sisters and the black community and are we gonna be all right or not? But I mean when my thoughts when it comes to Meg is you gotta accept what you ask for. When you deal with certain type of people, there's certain things that come with a certain lifestyle. People love the benefits of a lifestyle, but then they have an issue when the negative parts come to the lifestyle. And whether no regardless of what lifestyle you choose, there's benefits and then there's negative things. And when you choose something where you increase the chance of negative behavior, I think is you can't play victim when the negative behavior you signed up to possibly receive shows up. So that's all I really see. I know it's not confirmed yet, but my thing is if Meg the Stallion is dealing with Tory Lanez, especially if they are sexually connected, then nothing there's no problem. If a man shoots his woman, that's their business as a relationship. If a woman wants to be in a relationship with a man that's gonna shoot her, she does have a right to do so.
Okay. So I'm gonna get you right into the pie, into the feeling, right? What do you feel in terms of A, what a pick me is, and B, why this whole anti pick me culture is rolling?
I mean, pick me is a term that a bunch of losers came up with because they can't get a man that they want. So because they're losers, they down other women who actually put themselves in better position to get a man that they would want. So that's all it is. Just a loser behavior,
Well,
you
damn,
know.
he hit it right on the head.
I mean that's what it comes to at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? A loser is gonna attack another woman because she can attract a man. I mean, that's called being a hater. Everywhere else is that's being a hater. Why is it not a hater just because a woman's using the term pick me? You know what I'm saying? Pick me. I mean, what women call a pick me is really just a good black woman who expresses herself in a good way. And what black women have done is say, "Oh, we're gonna make it a pick me," and then add a bunch of nonsense to it. So anyone that's a sister that expresses that she love a black man in any kind of shape or form, we're just going to attack her. You see what I'm saying? Then they justify by saying, well, the woman's just gonna lay down and let a man walk all over her, or whatever the case is. Who's usually the type of woman that's actually calling somebody a pygmy? The women that actually do lay down and let men treat them like crap. So at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of losers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I,
Mm.
I have never heard one woman worth her salt ever calling another woman a pygmy. I ain't seen it yet.
Ooh, shit. Now,
But
Daphne,
I've seen some bum women call women pygmy. I've definitely seen that. I've definitely
Daphne,
seen losers call women pygmy.
you've been here for a minute. What do you think on the conversation thus far?
I feel everybody's you know, statement I fully agree with, especially what Roger just said, a loser mentality. Like the woman that I just got into it with, she was calling me names, yet she looked like Wesley Snipes in 2-1-Fu. And I didn't get a chance. I didn't get a chance to match her energy because she blocked me. But when I went to her page, I was just so shocked that she had so much to say about me instead of addressing her own issues. Like one thing I don't do, like for the woman to say that I hate black women, I don't have that one post that says that. I'll be on a ban right now for 30 days if that was the case. So at the end of the day is I don't have a problem with black women. I have a problem with black women who don't want to take accountability. Working for the state for 3 years taught me so much because the families that I went to check on them and knock on their doors and do, random visits, they were black women. And some of them were just living in bad areas and they were letting guys stay in the house, hiding in the closet when they know that that guy's going to ruin it for their whole entire situation. But they
Oh,
like to
so they was
show
dating the
show us
homosexuals.
no, what I'm saying is they were choosing to lose it all for their family to have some thug in the house. A lot of these women that I see do this type of stuff, all I'm trying to do is offer help. I'm not perfect myself and I don't claim to be, but I just find it odd how Derek Jackson is their king, but I'm the pick me. I'm not selling any books. I'm not asking for any money. Buy my shirt. Buy this. I don't do that. But how is it that he's not a pick me for telling men take him on expensive trips? And I love every stretch mark when he called another woman a fat ass before. So he panders. He does what he can to sell those books, and that's their king. But when Daphne says women, you can choose better so you can have better in life. Why is it wrong that I'm telling a woman choose better men? If you have more than one baby daddy, that is your fault. You can't blame Pookie and Tommy and DJ for you having kids with each one of them. You chose to procreate with these men. So if the first man was not shit, that means the second man, you got to be selective and wait. Wait it out. Make sure he's the one before you lay in bed again. They're not doing that. I'm only trying to give them the advice that I took. After being in a very abusive relationship, I made sure that my next relationship was real. And that's why I've been with my husband for 10 years. Because I made the choice to choose a good man and not a fucking Pookie. Why does that make me a pick me that I'm making better choices? Because I'm telling women to make better choices? Or should I tell women all of your choices are right? Stick your tongue out. Shake your ass on camera. Go ahead, girl. Have 20 kids. Get that government assistance. Child support. Yeah. Then I'll be their queen, right? I'm not doing that. And I won't do it. All that is going to make you a statistic. That's all you are. If you want to be a statistic, fine. But if you want real advice from me, I'm going to give it to you. And if that makes me pick me, that's fine. But what really hurts me is that I had to send 2 screenshots to the authorities yesterday for 2 black women that said they wanted to kill me over Meg Thee Stallion. They don't even know Meg Thee Stallion. And both of these booger wolves had kids that deserve to have a mother in the household. Now their mother's going to be going to court for making threats via the computer. Now their mothers are going to be looking at facing up to a year in jail. Now their mothers are going to be looking at a Class B misdemeanor. Do you really want to ruin your life over a fucking woman that you don't even know? So that's what really breaks my heart. It's sad. It's sad.
Kids like I wish mom would cook up some food.
If you really think about it, they only have 2 options. Either you have the options of emulating what you see on TV, i.e., Housewives of Atlanta, and all the rest of the reality shows that you look at, and people say, "Oh, that's what life is supposed to be like with a black man. I can act ratchet and still have the baller type guy who's going to take care of me." Or you can act like Megan and all the rest of them. They weren't taught, and they aren't being taught the middle ground, which is, hey, you can be successful, you can be smart, educated, you can be a powerful businesswoman, and still have someone who cares about you that are kings. We're out here, we're just sitting in the background waiting, because me personally, I don't feel like expending a bunch of energy trying to figure out who's going to act like what within the first 6 months.
Very true.
Another
thing that I wanted to say real quick was that someone said on that post that I made for Kanye West and Will Smith, what really upsets me is I made a post about Kanye West and Will Smith and both of their situations that they're both going through. And
can you give a little bit of detail on it for those who maybe just ain't listening or paying attention?
What I said was Kanye West has mental issues, and I feel like it all started when Donda died, his mother. I lost my mother and didn't act a fool until 9 years later. One day I just broke down. I ended up in the hospital for 2 weeks. I didn't put that on Facebook. I wasn't asking for attention. I almost died, to be literal with you. I almost died because I had a mental breakdown. I didn't register that my mother was really dead until 9 years later. So when people say Kanye West is doing this for an album, I don't know him personally. I just know what mental illness looks like, because I was in the hospital for 2 weeks and I was only surrounded by people who were crazy like me, is what they called me, was crazy. So what I'm saying is mental health is serious to me. And when it's in our black men, they refuse to talk to black women because they don't want to be judged. They don't want to be called a bitch. If you look on that post that I made about Kanye West and Will Smith, I got over maybe, I would say 70% of the comments were women saying that Kanye West is just a baby and a bitch. He's a crybaby. He just wants to sell a new album. They're not looking at the fact that this man is hurting and that his behaviors are showing that he has issues that need addressing. Give him a pill. Tell him to shut the fuck up. That was some of the feedback. Then on Will Smith, well, he's a dummy. That's his fault. He didn't know she was fucking all this Alcina. Everybody knew. They justified the behaviors that they were going through. They justified it. Oh, he's hurting because of an album. Oh, Will's hurting because he's just a simp. He should have known his wife wasn't happy. But had it been Jada Pinkett crying on camera because she cheated, or that will cheat it. She would be the victim. Women would say, Jada, you are a queen for talking about how you got played. Oh, I want to be like you. But when it's a man, he's a bitch. He's soft. He's weak. So just like Sister George said, a lot of these women, their mentality is that if a man shows any emotion, he's weak. He's not strong. He's a bitch. And that's the problem. They don't want to address when a black man is going through something because they make it all about them. A lot of the comments were also saying, but what about women? It's not about women today. It's not. It's not about you. When are you going to understand it's not about you?
Fool.
But if you want it to be about you, post it on your page. I'm talking about two men that I've seen in the limelight for issues. Like I said, these women want to be hot girls. I guarantee you, if I was to start posting how men ain't shit, if I was to start posting twerking videos, or even I haven't posted a selfie of myself in years because that's not what I'm about. I don't want the attention to be because I got a fat ass or thick thighs or I'm pretty. I want the attention to be that this woman understands what's going on in the black community and she's trying to make a change. But unfortunately, these werewolves want to call me names, call me ugly, say I'm stupid, because it's a reflection of them. But the only thing I'm not with is the death threats. These black women have nothing better to do than to threaten another black woman, not knowing that this black woman is very educated and knows how to figure out where you live. It's not hard. So why would you put your kid's life in jeopardy because you want to defend Meg Thee Stallion? Meg Thee Stallion is a very violent black woman. Everything she posts, oh, okay, girl, yeah, yes, bitch, hot girl summer. If she's so good and her body's so banging and she's so sexy, how come Meg can't keep a man? Every man she's been with said she was a bat. She was crazy. Every man that she's been with has clowned her. They clowned her. They clowned the guy she was with before Tory clowned her. So there's a pattern
Money
with this
bag
woman,
you.
but nobody wants to see it. Today she was on her live saying that anybody talking about her, it's a fucking lie. And thank you to all my hot girls who are sticking up for me. Y'all my riders. And blah, blah. Then she starts crying.
went for it.
Then she started
you know
crying.
what?
Hold on. I'm almost done. Then she started crying. So the reason why I knew she went live is because everybody started posting her live on that post that I made about her and Tory. I don't care what Megan says on camera. You can cry like a baby all you want. I know you're good at acting too. Until we hear Tory's side, I'm not siding with one woman. Like I said, I know Tory just didn't walk in the club and say, get in the car, bitch, so I can shoot you and your feet. She provoked this man. She's wild, she's violent, and she's jealous. She got jealous because Tory was looking at Kylie Jenner, and she looking at herself like, I got this big ass, it's real. I got all this. Having a nice body don't mean shit if your attitude ain't shit. Remember that. All these ladies want to lay on this table, but how many of them ladies are wives today? None of them. They're Instagram hoes. That's all they do. So if you want to look up to being a hot girl, do that. I'm not that. You'll never see me in the club twerking. So
Can I say what I know is real quick? Because it's a certain commonality with certain people. At the end of the day, Meg Thee Stallion, you know what I'm saying? Nothing against her personally. I'm just keeping it real. Meg Thee Stallion is just another woman that has not been picked. And then you have a lot of women on the internet who call women Pickme, and they have not been picked. Point blank period. These are a bunch of ringless women that folks ain't trying to mess with. And a lot of these people are in major cities with millions of people, and yet every brother they come across won't pick them for some reason. So that's a common thing. They see themselves in Megan. Nobody wants to pick Megan for whatever reason, and they see themselves in Megan because nobody wants to pick them for whatever reason. So to me, it's just, you know what I'm saying, they feel her pain at the end of the day. But the fact that they're so arrogant that they feel they don't have to change anything, so some men would pick one of them. I mean, that's just a personal problem at the end of the day. You're supposed to suffer when you feel you're better than the people that you want to pick you. You're supposed to suffer and be alone. That's the way it should work. No one should be trying to go after a person that the person that they're going after feels superior to them. No person should be doing that.
Doesn't Megan have a record? Like, she caught a charge in 2015 for domestic violence?
Yes, sir.
Something to that effect,
the mugshot is on my page.
Yep.
She's wild. Like I said, and the crazy thing is black women were like, well, Tory Lanez is the woman hitter. He's an abuser. So if he's known for being this crazy man, why did Meg get with him? She chose, right? This is where the choice comes in, right? You a hot girl. Mm-hmm. So if you want to be with a hot boy, you're going to get hot bullets. That's how it works. You can't sit up here. just like with, I think it was a Grown Man Business, or maybe it was Kev. He said if that's what you attract and that's what you want, you gotta accept. No, it was Roger Report. I apologize. He said if I want me a hood nigga and I get with a hood nigga and I'm sitting in this car and shots ring out, I chose to be with this hood nigga, right? It's a choice. You gotta quit trying to play victim because of your choice. You gotta say, you know what? I chose another ain't shit man. This is probably the third man y'all heard about me being with that it didn't work out. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm too much of a hot girl. Maybe I need to put
Well, let
my
me say
tongue in
this.
my mouth and finish my degree. Set a good
Well, well, let,
example.
well,
Set
that,
a
Not
good
well,
her
let me say this.
2.5.
It's
She been,
Not.
she been in school. She
what.
been in school for too long.
Uh,
Finish that degree.
well, let me
Go
say
ahead,
this.
Rod.
It's not about being a hood nigga. Because I was talking to another person about this, and we do need to use certain terms more correctly. Because most black men are from the hood, just like most black women are from the hood. It's not about hood. It's about the lifestyle you chose. If you choose a gangster, gangster stuff come with it. If you choose a drug dealer stuff come with it. You know,
My
if you
bad. I
if you
couldn't.
choose a
Sorry about that.
car thief stuff comes with it. No, I'm just saying because you know what I'm saying, we do got to get better on how we describe certain things. So you know what I'm saying, if you're a woman, you choose a certain type of man, and somebody kills your man, you can't complain that your children are growing up without a father because you chose a man that was more likely to be killed. You can't trip that your son and your daughter got killed because of the type of man you deal with. You know, they deal in illegal activities, and then they steal from people, and you know what you know how stuff in the streets get settled. You steal, you get
Right.
killed. That's the way it works.
Right.
So you can't trip. Oh, my babies ain't got no daddy. Blah blah blah. Well, you know what I'm saying? Certain stuff just come with certain lifestyles. You got to be cool with it.
Right.
Just is what it is. Stop looking for sympathy when you chose a situation that more than likely is going to turn into something bad. Because everybody could choose a situation that more than likely will turn into something good.
So what do you feel as a group, right? Everybody on the panel, what do you feel like are issues that women typically, and I really want to hear from the women, what do you feel like issues that are typically being pushed under the rug so that women can kind of skate by and ignore it, right? In terms of dating, in terms of relationships, what do you feel like the biggest issues that you maybe get called pick me for are?
Sister George, you want to go first?
Yeah, I think if you talk about single mothers and if you talk about women dealing with situationships and random sex, or if you talk about women having diseases, stuff like that, you get called to pick me. And people can be harsh because this has never been heard of before, to where people actually told the truth about Black women. And so then if you talk about the child molestation and how they do with the child support, you know, most people really want to turn a blind eye because we don't want to see our women as that treacherous, or like that our women would be that low down with our kids or with each other. And so that's what I think.
So how do you have all these situations where women are catching STDs and women are getting pregnant without black men? I'm playing
Um,
devil's advocate.
Now it's all now I kind of look at it. I don't necessarily think that the notion is like an 80-20 rule, because I see
Are you
more.
sure it's not a 50-50?
I kind of feel like it may not necessarily be 50-50, but I don't necessarily think it's like 80% of the women getting pregnant by 20% of the men. I don't think it's anything like that. But I do feel that we are picking the men, and it is up to the women. Like when we let men in, we are making those choices. We're saying we want these men to procreate with, and so we're not making the best choices when we're choosing the men to procreate with.
Well, sometimes men pretend that they are one way and then they end up being another way.
Then we
Yeah,
need to take more time to learn how to vet, because it's apparent something's
abs-
not working with our vetting processes.
absolutely. Hey, I want to
I
say
agree.
something. I want to say something. I feel like it's really stupid when a woman says he should have wore a condom, because I only turn around and say,
Oh,
"Did you check his dick for a condom?" And that baby's sitting right there. I mean, I'm one of the guys that feel like that when the life gets here, the life is not a mistake. So stop calling it a mistake.
Right, right.
So
And
and also
that's one thing.
go ahead.
Go ahead, boo. I'm sorry.
No. I'm just saying. It's like I'm just saying. Stop saying he should have wore a condom because it's like just like it's up to the woman to let him in. It's also up to the woman to say no if there's no condom present. People know what they want. I mean, if you don't want a child, shit, you won't have unprotected sex. There are consequences that come to unprotected sex, diseases as well. So I'm done.
There's consequences with sex, period. You could have protected sex and the condom could break. That doesn't
Right.
necessarily guarantee that you won't
Yeah,
come.
but at the same time, they've already acknowledged that he wasn't wearing a condom. They've already acknowledged that. And then plus, there are other preventative measures that you can take too, that she can take, like, contraceptives. And I know they're probably going to come up with the argument of, well, we didn't have the right kind of contraception. There's so many ways to prevent. If you really don't want a child, you you're not going to have one, period.
Well,
You, you,
all he had to do was just wear a condom.
I
Wait, well,
mean,
Well,
let
that
me
I
throw
feel
this in.
like
Can,
okay.
can I throw that? Can I throw this in real quick?
Go
Because
ahead.
as a man with no kids, man, there's no excuse. At the end of the day, we live in a world where sex do not equal children. It just doesn't. It can, but it doesn't. Before a woman has the right to abstain from sex, period. If she bypasses abstaining from sex, she has a right to use birth controls for herself. If she bypasses that, she can have the man wear a condom, even though she could use birth control while the man wears a condom. If you bypass that, you can take a morning after pill. If you bypass that, whether people like it or not, you can get an abortion. And if you bypass that, you got adoption. Nobody has the kid they don't want. Nobody. We're not in that world anymore. If this was the 50s or the 60s, yeah, maybe you can say that. We're not in a world where sex equals children unless you want it to equal a child. We're just not.
I'm glad you said that too, Roger, because the scenario that I used the other day was a woman who got with a guy, saw all the signs. This man couldn't keep a job. All he did was smoke and play video games. She saw all these signs, but instead of telling him, you know what, this is not like growing business says, this is not the life that I want for myself, nor if we had kids, I wouldn't want them going through this lifestyle. You need to change your ship out. No, the woman ends up having 3 kids with this no good man. And then they tell me, well, I didn't see it coming because no, a lot of these women do get the signs. They see it. They see that this man is definitely not going to do nothing with his life right now. And instead of fixing it, they want a man so bad that they accept it. Then they have kids with him. Then if the relationship don't work, she's left with the 3 kids, right? Then she gets with the next man and has 2 kids by the next man. How does that happen? How does that happen
Because
if
those
you
So
It's because those are the type of men she wants. If a woman just wanted a man so bad, she would straighten herself out for a better man that she felt
exactly?
was at a certain level. If she really didn't want, no, she liked what she liked. You don't have kids by niggas you don't like. That's a that's who you have your kids by. I've never met a woman and talked to her about her man, and she ever told me she had a kid by a man she don't like. Every woman tells me they have sex with the men they like. Because I've
Oh,
asked plenty of women that question:
well,
do you have sex with men
and
you like or sex with men you don't like?
se-
And they keep
se-
telling me they have sex with the men they like.
should sex be an important decision? Like,
yeah,
do we treat it like it's an important decision or
you
just some
what it
should.
random ass shit?
what it
I think
really sounds like is these women are trying to be picked by the men they want to have sex with.
I mean, at the end of the day, hoes gonna be hoes, and people want to
I,
act
I
like they're
mean, I
not
do.
hoes.
I mean, I do believe
Well,
Hoes
that.
are
does it
But
make
ruthless.
them a hoe to want to be picked by the man that they want to have sex with?
No,
uh,
no, no. What I'm saying is, at the end of the day, when you're a hoe, it's a lot more likely you're gonna end up with children. And it's you know what I'm saying. So at the end of the day, when you be a hoe, and your whole activity can lead to children on a regular basis. It has since history has begun. And when hoes out here reckless and hoes feel they don't have to be accountable because they can always talk about what some man did, that's a hoe telling you I don't have to be accountable. So when a hoe has a position that she doesn't have to be accountable, of course she's gonna have kids eventually.
hey, I will say this though. I will say this. I do agree with the notion that you have to be sexually attracted to someone that you want to be with, or ultimately it will fail. So, I wouldn't blame I wouldn't blame a woman wanting to be picked by someone who she wants to have sex with. That's only natural. I mean, it's I guess it all depends on how you behave with it. If the intention is good. But I would never just dismiss the fact that you had to be attracted to someone in order to be with them because attraction is part of it. You know.
Didn't y'all
Well, you can
do a
wait. You can
show
wait to get
about?
picked before you have a baby. That's all I'm saying. You can wait till you get picked before you have the baby.
What
What'd you
was that,
say,
Sister
Sister George?
George?
Well, I was gonna say, didn't y'all do a show about the vetting process one time before?
I mean, we've all probably done a show about the vetting process, so you got to be
In
a
one
little
form
bit
or
more
another.
specific.
I mean, like how women should vet men.
Well, you know what? That's one of those things that we like. Really, I want to get into as for one of the solutions. But yeah, of course, women should be vetting men off tops. When you get into a relationship, a lot of women don't check for certain common sense things. When you start dating a person, you got to lay out what your goals are. Are you dating just for sex? No, of course not. A lot of people are not just dating just for sex. So when you get into to these little mini relationships, that it often end up being situationships because you didn't vet that man. You didn't say, "Hey, listen, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm going to settle for." It ends up into some other nonsense. So a lot of women aren't doing the simple common sense thing of vetting a man because they're so desperate to be picked for his attention, they end up in a fucked up situation.
I absolutely disagree. Flag on the play. I
Oh, okay.
believe.
Well, you
I
tell me.
believe. I believe women are definitely vetting men. That's why they end up with the ones they end up with. When you vet someone, you make sure they are what you want them to be. And when a woman gives her body to a man because that's precious to her, she making sure she giving it to the man she wants. My thing is, it's okay if we just gonna accept that women can just lie and say no, that's not the type of man I wanted to have sex with. That's not the type of man I wanted to have a baby by. You know what? We're basically saying we're idiots. I do not believe for a second that women love sleeping with men or having children with men that they didn't want to have them with. I understand rape happens every once in a while, but if it ain't rape, nah, you vetted them. You got exactly what you wanted.
Okay, well, I don't really have an argument for that. I was trying to go somewhere, but I
well,
can't.
well, Roger, these men lie. These men tell stories.
Yeah, and some women like liars, and they like guys who tell great stories.
But even if it's a guy that's lying to you, it's our job to figure out the bullshit. Like, let me tell you this. Today, a woman told me, "Well, the reason why Megan is so fucked up is because she didn't have both her parents." That's a lame excuse too. Something that Roger would say. That's lame because you're making an excuse for your bad, choices when you can go to people for help. Like I said, I didn't have my mother growing up through the rest of my teens, through my adulthood, but I knew not to get with a man that wasn't about shit. I could ask my counselor for that kind of advice. I can ask my coach. I can ask my girlfriends, my friends. Like, you have a lot of people you can ask. So there's no excuse for her wild behavior. It's just her choice to be wild. We got to stop making excuses for people's bad behavior. Like I said,
Well,
when some
well,
go ahead.
Daphne, let me ask you this question. Okay, so what I've noticed is a lot of Black women suffer from like very, very low self-esteem. And so with not having both parents around, do you think that contributes to the low self-esteem issue?
Yeah, I think it's a big deal. I really do. And somebody even said that they think she's just an insecure woman who wants that attention, who wants to feel loved and wanted because maybe she didn't have it growing up. But still, it's our choice to seek and ask questions and ask for help. Why can't we? If she can be loud on live and say, "Yes, bitch, get your nails done," then why can't she use that same energy to be a better Meg the Stallion? She's very talented. The girl has
Yeah.
she has the chance to be bigger than what she is if she would just tone it down. You're better than that. We shouldn't be famous because we're loud and ratchet and we're housewives and we're love and hip hop. We're better than that. Love and hip hop's only a good show to people because it's drama, it's ratchetness. If love and hip hop was about women doing better, it would get no views. Women love drama. That's the narrative for us. That we're loud, we're black, we throw chairs and throw drinks. Yes, bitch, yes. That is so played out. It's weak. We got to do better. We are better than just shaking our asses every 5 seconds. We're better than that. Like I said, Meg the Stallion, I didn't even know she rapped because all I saw was ass. Every time I looked up, Megan Stallion was popping in for another nigga. That's all she was doing. But then someone said, "Oh, she's in school." Okay, do you think if Megan Stallion went to school and finished, that would be a great example to these young girls? Because right now, these young girls want to be hot girls with their tongue out, wear different color wigs, and just shake their ass all day. Is that what we teaching our women? Is that what we teaching our girls?
That's
So
clearly what's being taught.
what I'm saying
Exactly.
is that's the first thing she said online today. Shout out to all my hot girls. Y'all have my back. Then she got to the breaking down and crying. So like I said, at the end of the day, what you attract is the attention you're gonna get. To me,
Yeah.
I don't think the tears were real. Like something like Roger said, if you wanted to be with a man who lives that life, who's on the edge, who carries a gun where he goes, you mean to tell me that Megan didn't know this man carried a gun wherever he went? Come on, we gotta use our head now. So at the end of the
So
day, if you want to be with a bad boy, then you got to accept the benefits that come with being with a bad boy. Everybody knows
Y'all
Blueface
got
is
all
not
this
doing
energy
anything.
for men.
So
Y'all got all this energy for women. Why don't y'all talk to the men? Why haven't y'all spoken to the men?
I was
Hold
getting
on,
ready to get to it.
all right, before you
So
go into that, I got one statement I want to make about that low self-esteem issue. You can use low self-esteem all you want until your 18th birthday. After your 18th birthday, that don't mean nothing anymore. You in control of yourself. If you really got a low self-esteem problem, go get it fixed. You in charge now.
Oh, Roger, I absolutely agree. I had to learn the hard way, so I absolutely positively agree.
Roger
But
said, "I am the captain
what
now."
I'm noticing though, there seems to be double standards between her and August Alsina. So with August Alsina, people are saying that Jada was a predator and she was predatory towards him because he was mentally sick and he had ailments and whatnot. And so people were saying that she was very predatory. But now when it comes down to Meg the Stallion, she's not allowed to have any
No. August Alsina
uh
obviously got mental issues. He got mental issues.
He
When
almost
you
died.
prey
yeah,
upon somebody with mental
yeah,
issues,
but
that's a little
he
different than
should have
saying
got
somebody
help,
who plays.
right?
Say
No,
that
no,
again.
no,
I'm
no.
sorry.
If you as a person that do not have mental issues prey upon someone who does have mental issues, you're automatically wrong. Period.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be on him to get fixed like
August did go to
people?
get he did go to get help. He went to
She
her.
came to his
yep.
aid. She came to
Just
his
about
aid.
to
Yes,
say it.
I'm here for you. I'm here.
He
Remember,
went to her.
Nicki Minaj was there for him too when he was in the hospital. Don't mean that they got together. I just think the way Jada was there for him was a little too much. She was
so
attracted
let
to him.
me.
Let's just call it what it is.
All
Jada's
right.
too old to be preying on a young man like that at his worst. August
So
was near death.
I'm a term man, and a lot of y'all probably ain't gonna agree with what I'm about to say, but I'm about to be on 1,000. Um, Regardless if a person has mental issues or not, two things come into play. You still have an anatomy down bottom, and at some point, it's gonna link up with your brain and tell you that something needs to be done down there. You can be crazy as bat shit, but at some point, let's just keep it 1,000, fellas. You're gonna want some coochie. Now, whether you decide to merge that hemisphere of your brain that says, hey, I actually need help with this problem, and to find somebody who's going to give you help and give you the secondary piece of what you need, I think that's an issue. And I haven't heard one person or read anything in the comments that actually blames Tori on the opposite side, because if you knew she had a bunch of dudes that she went through and none of them worked out, why the hell would you go there in the first place?
Because that's what he into. I mean, I don't see nothing. I don't see their situation as anything that bad. It's just a relationship either.
It's,
He likes certain type of women. She likes certain type of men. They found each other and
I
they have a
disagree.
lifestyle that led to
Hey,
problems.
I
So I
will
don't
say
see no
this.
issue.
I believe that it's part of their lifestyle for what they need to show on media. But let's put it this way. Let's take it back a couple years, and it's more than a couple. But when you was growing up, everybody in here over their 30s, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, think everybody in that baseline.
All right. So growing up, you saw loving couples. You didn't see what we have going on today. You saw the Cosby Show,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Family
Yeah.
oriented show where a husband loves a wife. It was a queen, a king, and kids, which is why we turned out the way we did. the people and what they're selling now, that's not the same thing that they're showing on social media. It's not a popular platform. It's not going to get the same views. The people who we
I
grew
wouldn't
up
say
with
that's why we. Oh,
were the
my
people
bad.
who
Go
were
ahead.
taken away. The people who we grew up with were the same people who were taken away. Now Bill Cosby's in jail. You got Eddie Murphy out here messing with transvestites. Um, Whatever black figure that was prominent back then that was popular that showed you the correct way of life or what we thought is now gone. So the only thing that they have left to mimic or to use as an example are people who are getting into these situations, whether it be kids, whether it be fights, whether it be the police, whatever the case may be.
I feel where you're coming from, but I don't blame anything that happened in the media as to why I turned out the way I did. I don't see no connection there. I see people who blame the media as people who just looking for excuses. The issue that we have now is, as a collective, we're just worse than we were back then. We've accepted negative behavior a lot more than what we used to. I blame the people who when we had this transition where parents wanted to be friends with their children instead of parents to their children. That's why I would say that we really started going in the wrong direction. I mean, we was already headed there, but that's why I see the big turn. You know what I'm saying? But I don't blame the media, because no matter how many times they put using drugs on TV, if you use anything beyond weed, in my book, you're already crazy. Point blank, period. I don't care what they put on TV. I don't care what's in the music, pop the molly, all this. Once you go past weed, and I don't even smoke weed myself, but if you go past weed, you basically on your way to the nut house. That's
So
just
you
how I
don't
look
think
at
that,
it.
so you don't believe that it has some type of effect if you're listening to it 24 hours a day, if you're watching it 24 hours a day, if the people that are around you are doing the exact same thing and you don't have the formula to reach out to do something different, you don't think that that plays some type of part on how you
No,
start to live your life?
I believe people have to choose to like it first. You're not going to listen to it 24 hours a day unless you choose to like it. I listen to stuff like that myself, and I know it's nothing but just entertainment. That's all that is. Every rap album I heard, that's just entertainment. It's not real. You know what I'm saying? Everything I see on television, it's not real. It's just entertainment. You got to decide that you want to mimic these people, and that still comes out to a personal choice. That's just how I see it. I'm not saying it's not easier and you won't feel more comfortable in a society that supports you being negative toward yourself and other people. Sure, we live in a society that supports negativity more, but if that's the case, in my opinion, we got to say that we're just worse people than we were generations ago.
Mm, mm. Woo.
So Uriah Victorious brought up a good point in the comment section and said, some people go for the wrong qualities, following fads. Attraction is important, but you have to take time to examine the person's character. Some don't care about that. And I would agree, but sometimes you can't help what you attract. You can't look at somebody who is beautiful in nature and just see through the bullshit within the first week or 30 days, especially if this is someone who's prided themselves on being able to put up a good facade. Sometimes you
So
have to be there for a little while in order to figure out what's behind the curtain.
so you can't help what you attract. I always felt like that was a stupid conversation when people were like, you are what you attract. That's some dummy shit. Because you can attract a whole bunch of shit, right? It's what you allow into your life. That's what becomes problematic, right? So if you attract a whole bunch of people and you allow a crackhead into your life, that speaks to your character, right? So you have to be able to vet and figure out what you want out of these life. Are you going to be the person that says, I know what I want in my life, I know what I want in my relationship, and I'm going to allow X? Or are you going to be the person that says, well, he came around, that was good enough for me? That's my whole argument with this whole attraction thing. You have to allow certain people to come into your life.
Well,
As a
let me say it
woman,
better than that, Don. Let me say it
okay.
better than that. You got to say yes to these people who show up, because if we go by that stance, because I understand where you're coming from, brother, but if we go by that stance, okay, every dude would say that they attract attractive women, but if you attract attractive women, you can't say you don't attract ugly women and fat women or whatever type of woman that you feel is unappealing. But do you say yes to the unappealing women? You see what I'm saying? If you're not saying yes to what you feel is unappealing, if you think she too fat, you think she too tall, if you think her hair ain't right, whatever the case, if you're not saying yes to those women just because they were there, then I can't give women a pass when they say, well, I only accepted the men that talk to me, because they say yes to a man when he holler, or they say no to a man when he holler. And then even when they get with that man, like you were saying, no, yes, a guy can lie for a period of time, especially right in the beginning. But if you're an intelligent person, you're gonna be able to pick up on some lies after a small period of time. It's not like you out here talking to some liar that's literally a rocket scientist, and he's gonna put all his effort into proving his lie to you. I'm not saying it's some guy that won't somewhere, but on a regular basis, that's not what women come across. Yeah, he might lie about where he live, but eventually you're gonna ask to go to his house. He might lie about the car he drive, but eventually you're gonna want to see the car. I mean, guys do that on a regular basis. I've heard that more than anything. Well, yeah, I drive a Benz, but it's in the shop right now. You know, I mean, okay, cool. You can go with that story for about 2-3 weeks, but eventually you gotta explain that why that Benz ain't out the shop. And if you're unsure of something, you don't have to make major decisions while you're unsure. That's my whole point. I ain't got to get you pregnant while I'm unsure about what you told me. I ain't got to marry you while I'm unsure about what you told me. I don't even have to make us exclusive if I'm unsure of what you told me.
Damn, he hit some nails on the head. I mean, do y'all have any counter arguments to that? I mean, any statements, any rebuttals, any responses, any replies? What y'all got?
No, I agree with what everyone said. Like you said, if that's what you want, that's what you're attracted to, then you have to accept what comes with it. My only thing is, like Roger said, these women don't pick just random guys and say, "Ooh, I'm gonna make him, my baby daddy." They pick a man that they're attracted to, that they like, and sometimes they allow their looks to cloud their judgment when they see the signs that he's not a good dude, but they stay anyway. Thinking that they can change him, thinking that he will change. Maybe this one baby will make him change. Okay, maybe this second baby will make him change. All I'm saying is, we as Black women, we have to start taking accountability for our bad choices. We cannot continue to say, but men do this, but men do that. Men don't carry a baby 9 months. Men don't go through a life and death experience. So why would you want to go through that experience with a man that you don't see a future with? Why? Why are you choosing the same pookie over and over again?
So that does drive me back to my original question. Why are y'all not speaking to the men? Why are you not giving this advice to the men? Why are you not out here in the streets preaching it to the men? Hey, you need to step up. You need to be a father. If you don't like this woman, why are you having a baby by this woman?
My thing is, I'm a woman, so I can only speak on what I feel we as women, what we should do, because I'm a woman. All I can do is say, "Hey, sis, let me help you," because, like I said, I was in the field for 3 years, and most of my caseload were women. I didn't have men. I had women who didn't have a man around, but they had a bunch of kids. It was sad. I didn't want a caseload filled with women with no man around. But when I would ask them why did you procreate with this man this many times? Oh, because I just loved him so much. So you didn't see none of the signs that he was a bad guy? I did, but I just didn't want to be alone. That's not a good reason. It's not a good reason anymore. So you'd rather be alone with kids without the man? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. You alone now. You said you didn't want to be alone. Well, you alone now. Now you got 3 kids. So what are you gonna do now? Go on Facebook and say that men ain't shit? Why aren't they shit? Because you chose that man? I tell men, be careful who you procreate with, and I give them proof. If it's a little girl shaking her ass or coming down on a pole, she's only 5 years old, I say, man, look at this. Be careful who you sleep with, because this could be the result. I say it to men all the time. Go through my posts. I tell them, be careful, be selective. I tell them that too. But when I tell men to be selective, here come the women. But it's like they try to they tell us they're these good guys, and then they turn out to be this bad guy who didn't want to take care of his kids. So you didn't see that in both of those men. They were just perfect at the beginning, and then all of a sudden, bam, they batshit. No, I'm not gonna believe that twice. I'm not. Maybe the first time. Maybe he was Prince Charming and then he turned out to be Ike Turner. Okay, I give you that. But what about Pookie? So you knew Pookie was selling nickel bags, but you still procreated with Pookie. Why? Oh, because I thought, no, that's a choice you made. So the first guy should have taught you what not to do in your next relationship. Be selective. Watch what they do. It's not hard. It's not. I do tell men to be careful. I do, because this could be the result of what you're dealing with. This type of woman. Women, be careful who you sleep with, because you might get with a man that has all these kids, but you knew he did, but you thought he was so fine, you didn't care. Like I said, I'm convinced that some of these women purposely pick these men so they can have a kid and then know that that man has to be in that child's life for 18 years. Now I got him. I think some women do that on purpose because they want that man. They want that control. I know if I have a kid by him, I can just put his ass on child support. Now I got your ass for 18 years. Bam. That's what I see on Facebook. Bam. Ooh, the coronavirus hit. He lost his job. Now I'm the head of household. Bam. But then I'm a pick me for saying, okay, but when you were in school and he was working, he paid all the bills, didn't he? Oh, no, Daphne, I don't want to talk about that. Oh, you're just a pick me. Okay. That's what it looks like on Facebook when I call them out. So you're clowning the guy right now because his business slowed down, and you're telling him that you're the head of household. Who does that? But when you were in school last year and he was making all the money and paying for you, I didn't see no post from him saying that he has an ain't shit woman at home. So it's just like these women, they wait for stuff like that. Like, that's evil. But women were still calling me a pick me and saying that woman had every right to tell her man, I'm not the head of household, sit your ass down. What? So, like I said, if I'm gonna be a pick me because I'm supporting black men, I'll be that. But I'm speaking to women because this is what I dealt with growing up. Women with attitudes and all these kids, child support, cash assistance, rent is only $50. They love that life. $50. They on Facebook talking about they about to go on another trip. Well, your rent is $50 and you're getting child support every month. Don't even work. But when you call them out, okay, pick me. Okay, pick me. Don't you want to use that money to take care of your kids? Okay, pick me. Don't you want to invest? Okay, pick me. You just got a $100 wig. You could have take care of your kids with that. Okay, pick me. So you see what I'm saying? But if I go on Facebook tomorrow and say men ain't shit, you got a lot of deadbeat dads out there that deserve to be on child support, that deserve to be attacked in court. Women would it'll go viral. I should just do it as an experiment to show you. If I was to bash men, I would go viral and I would be their queen. I'd be the new Derek Jackson. Then next I come out with a book. Then I come out with a book next. Then I sit in my back seat.
That experiment.
I should do
that experiment. That experiment has been done every day. And we already know how that works.
And what they be saying? Yes, bitch. Yes, bitch. He ain't shit. Put him on child support, girl. Okay, hot girl summer. Okay, that's what it is every day on Facebook.
But let me count on one thing you said, Daphne, because you were talking about the women dealing with these men, and maybe the first time they didn't understand. Maybe the first time they just wasn't a good woman. Good, you know what I'm saying? Good women seek out good men. Bad women seek out bad men. Why just we can't accept that as a society? If you want a knucklehead, it's because you're a knucklehead too. Just that simple.
You're right, and I'll agree with you on that too. I'm just saying that based off of what I see, sometimes I don't even say nothing. But I've been in the black women being brutally honest groups, and I got attacked in that group the first day I got into the group because I sided with a man. They was calling me a pick-me-ass bitch. One woman even said, "You must have a dusty, crusty mama." That's how mad she got that she brought my mother into the situation.
Well, it wasn't about you siding with a man. If you side with the truth, it's a problem.
The truth. It was the truth. He was showing women doing what they do. Ratchet, pulling hair and acting a fool. And when they post that and they're showing you the proof and women are still saying, but, why? Take accountability for being ratchet. And you'll go far in life if you just take accountability. But the minute I said, you know what? I see that all the time in the South Side of Chicago. Women throwing red wigs all over the place, fighting over hair. I see it. Oh, you a pick me. How's that dick pandering work? Go ahead.
Can I ask a question? Mm-hmm. Honestly, anybody that when we see people that are unaccountable, and I'm not talking about children, 17 down is off the table, but 18 and up, when we see people that are unaccountable, do we consider them good people?
Well, no, shit. There's nothing you can really even say. No, how can you consider somebody who's unaccountable a good person?
Exactly. So I mean, it just is, like I've said multiple times, black women just aren't good people. If somebody wants to just deal with that, if
Can you elaborate, brother?
yeah, I'm no, I mean
He
I'm
gonna
being
get dragged.
serious.
Watch. Roger,
Drag me for what? Because black
make sure
women,
you drop your Facebook too, Roger.
you
No,
know what the problem is.
What's the
How you
problem?
gonna drag me for black women refusing to be good people? And I'm not a black
Mm.
woman. I'm not telling them not to be good people in the first place. I don't control black women's behavior. They do this on their own. They don't check with me before they decide to go do something, do what they want to do. I'm not leading them like that.
brother,
You
I
know,
need
the
you to
majority of them.
elaborate on that statement because we have a lot of first time listeners. So
Okay,
we
I mean,
need some,
okay.
yeah, some.
I feel you, brother, and it's cool. But my thing is, at the end of the day, can we look at the behavior that we're seeing and count that is good? If you have a baby by a man that's a no good dog, or whatever the case, whatever negative stuff you want to throw at this man, because we got all these sisters throwing this negative toward these men. If these men are no good, how can you be good? Point blank period. You chose to make major life decisions with him, not insignificant decisions. Not this ain't about what flavor Cheetos you want. You want to have babies, bring them into the world by men that don't have jobs or don't have sufficient jobs, who aren't even trying to better themselves, that being homosexuals. How can you be a good person and want that as the father of your child? Now, that don't sound like an act of love to me. Okay, now we got women that are on the system because they want someone else to pay for the consequences of their actions. Government ain't got nothing to do with you having a kid. Other random taxpayers that don't know you have nothing to do with you having a kid. Yet you want them to have the responsibility of taking care of your child and your situation. Okay, now if a person even decides to receive this stuff, who is making decisions on how well their child to be taken care of? The government does. The people do. The voters do. We as the society decide how well your child will be taken care of. How can you be a good parent and let me decide as part of society how well your child's going to be taken care of when I don't even know your kid and care nothing about your kid? Makes no sense to me. Don't sound like something a good person would do. Okay, now, we got people who are always who doing a lot of scams. They trying to scam and steal money, and they justify stealing based on, oh, I got kids to take care of at home. You see what I'm saying? That's not a good person. You're blaming your these innocent children on you being a thief. Don't sound good to me. You got women taking guys to court, and they're trying to get funds from them on child support for children that aren't even theirs. It doesn't sound like a good person to me. Okay, we got kids that are failing in school. You know, they're under the leadership of their mother. They come from these single mother homes, yet they fail in school. They struggle. And don't get me wrong, the boys fail worse than the girls from a general standpoint, but these boys have a mother that they must answer to. How do you allow your child to fail in school on a regular basis where you have people that are in eighth grade going into high school with fourth grade reading levels, and I'm supposed to come to a conclusion that you're a good person? You allowed this for your child. Nah, I'm not buying it. You know what I'm saying? It can't be the school system fault because you're the parent. Your word is the last word in the house. You see what I'm saying? And there's many more things I could say, but at the end of the day, how can your children be in a bad situation, participating in criminal activity? You know what I'm saying? Going around stealing cars, tearing up people's stuff. You know what I'm saying? Assaulting people and all this other kind of stuff. And I'm talking about the minors. How can minors do this and face so little consequences in their home that they're comfortable doing this on a large level?
So
That
Robert,
can't be the children of good people.
let me answer that question. Um, and here's the thing: my dad, at a certain point, was a person who was raising me by himself. Okay, his father didn't do a good job. I feel he didn't do a good job with me. However, now I'm in that same situation where I'm a single father.
Mm-hmm.
I have my son with me. Um, I'm in the military. I have a semi career in law enforcement. But I will tell you this as a person who has a child, you cannot be around your child 24/7 to make your child do anything. Now, I
I,
consider myself to be a good father who raises my child in a correct manner. And I set
mhm.
certain guide points and guidelines and standards for my child as to how I want my child to react to certain things and how he should be when he's in my presence and when he is not. Now, I went across seas to go serve for a little while. He
Mhm.
didn't hold any of those values simply because I feel that in the face of me, he's going to act one way because he fears, and I never wanted my child to fear me. I always wanted a close bond. But because of the type of individual that I am, military, law enforcement, strict upbringing, your child will act a certain way in front of you because they want that attention from you. They want that child parent relationship. But every child is going to go through some point where they're going to have to make a decision. Am I going to be this way with my parent when they're in front of me because this is what I was taught? And then when they're no longer looking and they're not around, then I can be my actual self. So I don't think it's necessarily the parents for all the time, especially when it comes to females. Although we do need to make accountability for males and females, sometimes if you get into a situation where you don't have everything that you need to because you're holding stuff together by the helms with what little you have, your child is going to act a different way. They know that you're going to work for 12 to 14 hours a day. And then you coming home and you cooking and you cleaning and you doing laundry. They may have a brother or a sister. So to me, it depends on the situation. Some children will help you out and they'll be good children. Others are going to go wayward. And you could have done all you could have as an excellent parent, but it doesn't mean that your child is going to turn out right. You
I
understand what I'm saying?
totally understand where you're coming from, and I can actually appreciate you saying that. But at the end of the day, people who choose to be good parents usually are going to have good children. That's just reality. There's an exception to a rule, but an exception won't change the rule. And when a parent implements things in their child's life, children respond to what has been implemented. And yes, there's going to be some rebellious children out there, but the clear majority of children are going to respond to whatever their parents implement. And I understand that boys are harder too because they naturally gonna go through a rebellious stage, but they can do a little bit more than girls because of how they feel, their egos, their you know what I'm saying, how they are physically and all. I totally get all that. I was a kid myself. I went through it too. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of relatives. I've never had a life where children were not a part of it. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have kids myself, but I've never lived in the world without children being around on a regular basis. At the end of the day, there are people that want to parent their children and try to make a better version of themselves, and there's simply people that don't. And at the end of the day, someone who's making an effort is great. Someone who's not making an effort is a problem. And most children are going to correlate toward the effort their parents make. It's not every single time, but it is the absolute majority of the time.
Point
Boom,
taken.
man. You got yeah.
Uh,
I'm very curious on this conversation because my whole thing is the apple doesn't stray far from the tree, right? So if you bring a child up in a certain manner, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna stick to where they was growing. Just like if you tie a tree up and the tree continues growing, the tree's not gonna have that lean to it. It's gonna keep going upwards in that fashion. If you let that tree grow any way it wants to, then you're gonna have a whole host of problems.
At the same time, trees also have branches. And what comes from branches? Leaves. So things can go in different directions. My son, um, and it's no secret, before my son was here, I was in the streets hard. I was doing whatever I wanted to. I had nobody to answer to, the whole 9 yards. When my son got here, I slowed down because I realized that I had somebody else, and the life that I called my life was no longer my own. It
Well,
shifted to
grown man business. Before you say anything that reveals any information about your son, because if that's where you happen to go with, My thing is, you've already established that when you're around, he already knows he needs to act right. And maybe you still gotta, cultivate him to the point where he's gonna act right when you're not around. But he already is acting right when you are around. So that already tells me you're doing something about the situation, period. And there's just people that don't. You clearly are one of those people, because he at least know not to act the fool when you there.
Oh yeah,
But
he
go
know how
ahead,
to
brother.
beat the brakes off of him. I don't mean that in the CPS manner. So if CPS chime in,
Right.
They show
don't
up
run
at your
that
door tomorrow. Listen, he was talking metaphorically.
Right.
metaphor.
That was all
Yeah.
metaphorically. That's all we do on this show, metaphors all day.
And Roger, when you said that, it just brought me back to growing up in my household without my mother and just my dad. And mind you, it was two other girls in the house and my brother. My dad had 4 kids he had to work with, 3 being girls, all in their teens. How hard that? I mean, I'm sure he probably wanted to just leave us in the house and turn the stove on and say, I'll be back in an hour. But instead, my dad
Ooh,
stepped up
that's
to the
hard.
plate. He said, because we were bad, we were 3 girls. All we did was fight. Give me my brush. Blah blah blah. It was. I know my dad was just like, damn, like why me, God? Because my mom kept the house straight, even though she couldn't walk or move her arms. She still enforced authority in that house. When my dad wasn't there, we knew how to act because we knew what would happen when he got home. But even when my mom passed away, my dad sat us down and said, "Don't let this be a reason that you mess up in school, that you drop out of school." I know people in high school that dropped out of school just because they wanted to. They had both their parents, but losing a parent and then having to go back to school that following week, that's hard on any kid my age. I was going through it, but instead, we all chose to stay in school and we all graduated from the same high school with honors. So to come out of that kind of environment where I didn't have my mother there to teach me what this was and what that was, we all had to ask for help, our counselors, and we had to figure it out. But one thing we didn't do was we didn't act a fool when my dad wasn't around because his presence was so strong that we didn't want to disappoint him. So that just tells you that my mom did a good enough job that even though she passed away suddenly, we still held those values that she taught us. She could have taught us more, but I wasn't thinking about, oh, I'm going to die tomorrow. But what she taught us stayed with us. And that's why we all graduated. That's why 3 out of the 4 kids have a college degree. And my brother's the only one with kids. Me and my sisters don't have any kids. Not that we don't want them. We just, every kids are not for everybody. My oldest sister's about to be 40 and she ain't got no kids, and people call her all type of names from Black women. Oh, your body must not work good, or you can't tell me what to do because you ain't got no kids. You single, so you can go wherever you want to go. Then they play the guilt trip on us because we don't have kids. That's why we can go to school and get 3 degrees. I can't get a degree with 3 kids running around. That's an excuse.
Well, let me say this. Let me say this, because I want to show proper respect to grown man business. And I want to just deal with the fact that, hey, life ain't fair. Sometimes we go through situations. Sometimes there's bad situations that we go through as children. I had some great parents, in my opinion. I'm not saying they were the absolute best, but I had some great parents. Were we bad at times as children, and were we reprimanded on a regular basis? Absolutely. Did we act a fool sometime when our parents weren't around? Sure, we did sometime. But at the end of the day, when one of them is showing up to the house, if we find out anybody on their way, we ain't did nothing we was supposed to all day, but all of a sudden everybody cleaning up everything that's supposed to be cleaned up, homework is getting done and all. We not gonna have you walk in on us and find out we've been messing around playing video games and outside and kicking and doing what we want to do. We at least was smart enough to say, let's get this fixed before they show up. We never wanted to leave a trace of anything that we wanted to do without following their instructions when they showed up. Did we turn out to be great people? Absolutely did. Do I have relatives that turned out that way? Absolutely do. I got a lot of cousins. I don't say how big my family is on there, but I got a huge family. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to my cousins and all that type of stuff, yeah, some of us did some stuff. We act a fool sometimes, but just like grown man business say, when he there, his son already know to be in order. Would I bet money that he's gonna turn out to a great adult? Yeah, I would. I would put my money on it. Point blank. And I don't know nothing about dude, but I put my money on it. I bet he turned out to be a great adult. You know what I'm saying? Because he know how to act when you there. So he knows there's consequences, period. He knows that. You know what I'm saying? And a person who understands consequences when they grow up as an adult, they also going to understand them then. So therefore, he's going to act accordingly. Just that
You
simple.
know,
So I think you're doing a great job.
and I wanted to piggyback off of Grown Man Business because I actually posted a video on my page. And Roger, I'm sure you heard about that incident where those three girls and that guy jumped that girl. The dude that was the boy that was what 14 years old ended up kicking her 3-year-old daughter in the head and knocking her down. Did you see that video I posted?
Yeah, the one that was by the door, the front door where they were
Right,
fighting.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's when I made
three
that
black
comment. I
girls
was
and a
like,
black boy. Right. Three black, just for people that don't know, three black girls and a black boy was attacking a girl, and she had her 3-year-old daughter with her. So while the three black girls were attacking the other girl, hitting her while she was on the ground, the 14-year-old boy ran, got a good jump start, ran and kicked the 3-year-old in the head so hard the 3-year-old fell and just started crying. So I went on the thread and said, this is the example of a kid who doesn't have his dad around. And the women attacked me. Oh, pick me ass bitch, you a hoe. Oh, you a cunt. And then guess what? Turns out that he was raised by a single mother. Not only did she not take accountability for her 14-year-old son, she said that she doesn't feel he was wrong. He just made a mistake. So your 14-year-old son thought it was okay to kick a 3-year-old in the head, could have potentially killed the 3-year-old, right? And the mother was online bashing everybody who has something to say. My son is a good kid. He made a mistake. Get off him. He's a good kid. I raised him right. Again, I called it. And yet I was still called a pick me for it. I was still called a
Cause
bitch
she
for it, even though
damn
I was
sure
right. I was
would have been
right
on the
about it.
internet with a GoFundMe account talking about some leave, let's get
Exactly.
him out of
That
jail.
exactly. And at the end of the day, she would not take accountability for having a son that is gonna have a problem in his life growing up doing this kind of things. If he thought it was okay to kick, and not only did he kick the little 3-year-old girl, when the
he's gonna be an
girl that
abuser
they were
when he grows
beating,
up.
right, and the girl that they were beating up finally got up, and when she turned to pick something up, the 14-year-old boy came and kicked her in the ass and made her fall on her face. So he did the final
Oh
blow.
wow.
So not only did he kick her daughter, but he kicked her when she didn't see it coming. And yet this black mother got online and said that you guys are all bitches. I raised my son right. Get off his dick. This is the mother. So when I told all those girls that were calling me a pick me, can you explain this? It's none of your business. That's why you don't have kids. Stay out of people's business. Now it's that. When you see the truth, now it's that. So I was wrong, even though I was right about him being raised by a single mother. They still call me a pick me, even when the mother addressed that this is my son, and she was owning his behavior, saying that it was okay because he made a mistake. So he made two mistakes. He kicked your 3-year-old daughter, then he kicked the girl when she was getting up. So come on, let's just call it what it is. If he had his dad around, maybe that could have been prevented where he didn't see a 3-year-old as a threat. Can we be real? Grown man business. If that was your son and you saw the video of your
Really
son
what it
kicking him,
was
I
doing
know
is
you
he
If
was
that
would.
trying to
was
get
if that was
into
my
in
son
the
and my
female
son,
business.
first off, my son would never do anything like that. If I ever found out my son did something like that, he would need a wheelchair because I'm not raising my son to put his hands on
Allegedly. This is
female.
metaphorically we talking. Metaphorically. Go
Metaphorically,
ahead.
metaphorically. I'm not saying I would beat my son in that manner, but men who do not teach their sons proper ways end up with sons who act in that manner. Now, I will disclose personally for myself. His mother and I have had disagreements in the past, but even with my son coming to live with me, and if my son were on the show, he would be able to tell you himself. The first question I always ask is, what is it that you're being told by your other parent that you don't like that you're coming to me? Because you're not going to play two sides of the fence. The second portion being the fact that, having just your dad in your life to teach you things, one, that women are to be protected. You have a sister. If somebody harms your sister, you should be at all times the first means of protection for her. You're supposed to be that shield. You're supposed to be that wall so that she doesn't experience that. She doesn't learn the mental behavior that this is acceptable to get your hands put on by a man, because it's not. That's not what I've taught you. And even to the fact of the point where his mom and my son have had disagreements, but one your mom. I, as a parent, am not going to badmouth your mom in front of you. You'll never hear me say it. And we've had conversations with my sons like that. I really don't understand the dynamics of it as to how you could go through so much stuff with a person and not have a bad taste. It's not that I don't have a bad taste, but I'm trying to help you to unlearn certain behaviors. I'm trying to help program you mentally so that when you get a girlfriend who then becomes your fiance, who then becomes your wife, because I don't want you going through a bunch of females trying to learn your way if I can save you time, and you have kids, then we start to turn the corner, not just generationally, but as a family, as to how men should treat females. You understand what I'm getting at?
I mean,
I do.
I totally do.
Yep, I do.
Yeah. Much respect, brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and like I said before, you got to train the tree right. So I know you made a statement about the branches and whatnot, but if you get a tree going the right direction, which is up, right, straight up, yeah, the branches might touch here, the branches might go there, but the base is always going to be what the base is. So it's always going to relate back to what the base of the tree is,
Gotcha.
and that's what
What's
you
it?
were showing your son. You don't treat women in a disrespectful manner. You don't abuse women. So some stuff might happen to where hopefully not. You get into a situation. He's always going to go back to what his father taught him and understand that this is not the way you do things.
And the only reason I do things the way I do is because I understand black people got to deal in this world that don't like us in the first place. So we don't get to make excuses. You know what I'm saying? Don't put yourself in a position where you looking for somebody to give you a pass. Because especially as a dude, because more than likely it ain't gonna come. It's possible you get it, but more than likely it ain't coming. So you just gonna have to start operating and start holding everybody else just as accountable as the way they hold us. And my thing is, as a black man, we shouldn't have any problem holding the rest of the world as accountable as they hold us. Let them feel the same type of pressure we feel on a regular basis. If people can't take it and they feel it's too much, maybe they need to ease off of us. But if they can put it on us and make us deal with it, then they should be able to handle it too. Point blank, period. I ain't got no passes for people that ain't got none for me.
I
So
agree, Roger.
since I have everybody on the panel, what do you feel like are the resolutions? What will make this situation get better so that women aren't running around here feeling like they need to call somebody to pick me? What are the solutions that everybody's getting picked and it's not a worry about somebody else being a pick me?
I'm gonna go with what Sister George said earlier before she left. She said that we have to start taking accountability for our own actions and work on ourselves before we could, get with someone or be with someone. We have to make sure that we love ourselves first. And to the woman who did, make that meme about me and felt the need to address my mother and my husband, I don't have no hate towards you. I still love you as a sister. I just think that you need to work on yourself because you're hurting. And sometimes you can just read a message from someone and they are telling you in this message how much they're hurting, and instead of them actually saying it, they want to badger and degrade me and call me every name in the book to cover up that they're hurting. So I take it as pain, and that's why I say bitter, because someone obviously hurt you. A lot of these women that say they're happy and that they got somebody at home, if you did, you wouldn't be on this thread defending a celebrity you'll never meet in your whole life. So when you have that much energy to give to someone you never met, it's an issue in your home. You're going through something that's bigger than this post I made, because no one goes that hard for someone they don't know. And if you telling me I'm wrong about what I'm saying, but you're right about what you're saying and you don't even know the person you're talking about, then you're definitely a hypocrite. This word pick me needs to be retired. Instead, the new word needs to be accountability. Look up the Urban Dictionary for that, because they don't have one for that. Because it's a word that they don't like. Anytime I tell a woman to do better, I'm a pick me. I'm a pick me anytime. When I made that Sandra Bland post, no one said a thing. Crickets, nothing. But if I talk about Cardi B, I'm a pick me. If I talk about Meg the Stallion, I'm a pick me. So they're gonna call me that regardless. And until they start working on themselves, it will never get better. Because these are the same women that sit here and say that men ain't shit. But the minute that man gets with a white woman, oh, all hell breaks loose. So at the end of the day, if you don't want to work on yourself and ask yourself why you're so angry, and you don't want to get help for your mental issues, you're never going to be happy. And you're always going to be that person on Facebook that bashes everyone you see because you don't want to work on yourself. And at the end of the day, whoever thumbs down the video, I know it's probably someone that called me to pick me on the post because I posted this link everywhere on my Facebook. So to the people that are listening that hate me so bad, I pray that you seek help because I don't hate you. I can't hate someone I don't even know. That makes no sense. Too much energy. Hate is too great of a burden to bear. So at the end of the day, if you go around calling women pick me's and that's your answer to everything, then clearly you're hurting, and I hope you get help.
Much appreciated. What's going on, Mr. Pimp C? This is Gerald Jokes. This is an old ass player from the Himalayas.
What's going on, man? Listen, first thing I gotta say, who are these young people you got in here with this positive energy? You know that ain't right. You know you ain't supposed to be pushing that type of positive energy. I mean, I didn't really want to come on the show, but for the brother who spoke so eloquently about dealing with his son's mother, kudos to the Empress. Never call yourself a queen because a queen means prostitute. To that Empress who spoke that curse word. She said accountability. Girl, you better make sure you got your dogs guarding because you know the Western culture women can't stand that word accountability. They don't like that. They don't like that. So, and you can't give all the credit to the women. I never say that. I always say you must give credit to the American government because they spent millions and millions of dollars for the dysfunction of households, not just the household of tone people, but all household. Because the bottom mathematical problem is the mathematical solution is money. They get money off dysfunction. So, and she talked about the young dude that the little boy that kicked the 3-year-old child. All I'm saying is where the dudes in the hoods, because if I'd have done that, I'd have got my ass kicked by my grandmother, by the neighbors, by my friends. You know, I embarrassed the neighborhood. And for her to even come at the young lady and say that, you know, this is my child, I raised them right. I still say let's put a Jason mask on her ass and start kicking her down. We we can't keep talking about this. It's just remember, like you said, I'm old. I seen it when it was functional, and I'm seeing what the dysfunction is. I saw it when it came in, and it's just heading downhill on a roller coaster with no gears. Ain't no stop. It's it's gonna collide. And the reason why it's gonna collide and collapse is because the slaves are waking up. We're waking up to who we are. We're indigenous to the land. They gotta make sure we don't get on point. They don't want this is why they killed Pimp C. Pimp C started talking like this. He started talking very consciously. They don't like people that's in the limelight talking conscious. It's just unheard of, for them to talk conscious. It's just, if it was us and we're some popular people making $1 million, trust me, man, they'll come at any one of us. Any one of us. We're nobodies now. But if we get to be somebody, we're going to have problems. So that's my take. And I love it. I love you. How y'all doing tonight, though, anyway?
Good.
Gerald,
Wonderful
always great to
conversation
hear
that
from
need to
you,
be
Gerald.
had.
Yeah, I love it. Everybody talk. I love it. Okay, next. Anybody next? I'm ready to listen. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm like I said, what do y'all feel like will be the solution to fix this? Because I really feel like they are looking at Daphne as if she's Candace Owens. And that's a hard look. Because Candace Owens just be selling people the fuck out. But you know what? Daphne's actually saying some valid points. When Candace Owens, she just be buck dancing her ass off.
Well, she's a buck dancer. That's what she's doing. She's married to a white guy. Kudos for her. Like, hopefully she finds love. But I think the solution is it goes back to something old sellout ass Ice Cube said a long time ago. I just wish
Damn.
we could build a wall and keep everybody out of our business. If we could get everybody out of our business, we are the fear of the world. People will be afraid of us because they don't know what we're doing. Long as we can be in front of the camera, we know what they're doing. We need to take our situations away from the media. It's none of their business. And then we build.
Hey, Donnie, real quick, because I see you kind of going toward the final thoughts. Let our grown man business get in there real quick because he threw something in the back chat. So let him get his final thoughts off real quick.
Run it. Yeah, anytime you want to. Run on up in here, grown man.
I
You
just
got the
wanted
floor.
to
You done came on with some eloquence, so go ahead.
I just basically wanted to thank you guys for letting me share my viewpoints with you tonight. I do want to express a deep apology to you, Daphne, for the fact that you keep going through this um, in certain periods of the year. It's always a constant uphill battle, especially when you're a female who is upheld to the highest standard, but aren't allowed to scream at the top of your lungs when other people who aren't doing the same as you are beating you down with words. And I really, in my opinion, don't feel the two-sided coin is really fair. Um, I kind of sympathize with you in knowing that there isn't a real release outside of social platform to tell people to stay conscious, to be aware, and to try to uplift and build ourselves forward. Um, and to answer your question, wrapping it up, Donnie, I don't think that there really is a fix. I know we really didn't, the question was put out there, but we really didn't cover it. To me, the systemic issue is a circle. And I say that because if you get one person, and I honestly, truly mean one person, as a bad, let's take Daphne out of the equation because, her situation is different. She's married. She has a good life. But if you get one female who is a good female, and then you meet one broken guy, and those two people link together, the male ends up pushing that brokenness on the female. They break up. The female's now broken. She has insecurity. She has demons from her past relationship. She gets with a good guy. She pushes that on the good guy. The good guy ends up in a circle. And a lot of the things that we have taken out of what should help, we don't even consider that. We don't even think about it. We don't think about religion as a fix. And when I say religion, I mean religion as a whole, to have biblical principles to where we can guide ourselves back to um, utilizing, and I don't mean Catholicism, I don't mean the European way of life, I mean actual true religion, um, to help guide us principally to where we should be. And to further it, I'm using that as a platform to relationships, as in being evenly yoked with someone who you know you should be with. That's how, in my opinion, you break the cycle. You learn your self-worth, you learn what it is that you need to have as a person instead of settling for what you can't have and making the best out of a situation and ending up in a worse one than you started with. So again, I thank y'all for listening. I thank y'all for having me on the show. I had an extremely good time. I love the energy of the devil's advocate play between the members in the group. And I think it's something that should happen more often.
Cool.
Man, I appreciate you.
Thank you,
Man, you're welcome
Grown.
to come on anytime you are you
Yes,
want to
I
come
knew
on.
he would be
We got
great.
a show. Pop on in, and just come enjoy the conversation. You want to fill in on another situation? Like I said, the panel's always open to you.
I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
appreciate meeting you, brother.
I
I
appreciate
appreciate you,
meeting
brother.
all of you.
Yep. Same here.
Good night.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
So, yeah, like I said, I mean, we having a great conversation. Raj, do you have some
Sure, I
Well,
do.
shit, I would call it a fall of thought, but yeah, solution to the situation. I mean, that's your
Sure.
channel. You provide these solutions, my nigga.
At, at the end of the day, the main solution: stop blaming other people for your situation. If you got a situation, just accept the fact that you created it yourself. Point blank. Period. Okay. Now, if you've created a negative situation, just do something to fix it. Stop crying and do something to fix it. Or if you're gonna cry, cry while you're fixing it. It's all right. You can be emotional. Cry while you're fixing it though. Okay. Um, at the end of the day, set a standard for yourself that you want you to follow. See, a lot of people want to set standards for other folk, but they won't set a standard for themselves. Set a standard for yourself. Once you set a standard for yourself, then you can decide about standards for other people, and it'll work out a lot better for you. Okay, so and for the sisters who ever get riled up talking about, I don't like him because he said black women aren't good people. Keep in mind, this is something you are in control of. I'm not in control of that. If y'all want to be better people, if you want to be seen as better people, all you gotta do is act better. It's still free to be a good person. No one's gonna charge you extra money to be a good person. Okay, it's free right now. So become better while it's free. I know a lot of you sisters that get mad about certain stuff. Well, y'all call people pick-me's, especially women who got picked. Because regardless of how y'all say it, people who are wives, they got picked. Some dude risked it all, as we say, to be with that woman. They picked her. And it could happen for you if you actually want to be if you want to be seen as appealing to a man that's about something. Okay? It's up to you. You can control how attractive you are, at least to a certain degree. You may not be able to change yourself physically, but most brothers don't need no dime to be with. They just want a decent looking woman that acts in a pretty good manner. Okay? As women, you need to learn to be loyal, to have good character, and to be good company. If you can do that for a man, you can go a long way. You'll probably end up married, and you'll probably end up happy. If you can, I'm gonna say it again because I know a lot of y'all have never heard this, because I know a lot of your parents have never told you anything about becoming a wife before. Okay? But if you can be loyal, if you can have good character and be of good company, you can go a long way with a man. Okay? And more than likely, you might actually end up married. All right? But it's on you at the end of the day. It ain't black men's job to force y'all to be better people. It's not black men's job to just accept y'all however you are. And you can't say a person that won't tell you how to improve yourself loves you. Okay? Nobody who loves you only tells you what you want to hear. Because I'm sure it's going to be a lot of y'all who only listen to people that tell y'all exactly what y'all want to hear. But no one who ever loved you did that. Did your mother ever tell you everything you wanted to hear and nothing you didn't want to? If you know your father, did he only tell you stuff that you wanted to hear? Same thing for your grandparents. Same thing for people you went to church with, your teachers, people at a job, when you volunteered somewhere, whatever the case was. Do people that actually love you only tell you what you want to hear? Because I seriously doubt that. And you can be a better person for free. It's still free. And your life can go better right now if you simply just choose to be a better person. And stop messing with women and calling them pick-me's. Because usually when y'all mess with those type of women, those are the women that are already picked, or a guy is already trying to pick them. You need to be in that position. Figure out how to get there. And I'm going to leave it there.
That was
Man,
beautiful,
what's
Roger Luther King.
That was, Roger. You shut me up, man. Wow.
Roger Luther King. Go ahead,
Right.
man.
Roger Luther King?
He killed it. I'm gonna definitely. I'm gonna go back and screen record what Roger said and post that on my Instagram.
Damn,
Yeah,
Roger.
That's how smooth it was. That's how.
Yeah.
Like I said, and some of you may have never heard this before. He's gonna be honest. We want honesty. That was really good, Roger. Thank you.
Yeah, because he got me fucked up. I'm supposed to be the final act, nigga. You can't come on the show no more, nigga.
Yeah. Yep.
You not
You drop the
allowed.
mic. Roger, make sure you drop the mic on that one.
Hey, let's just call him the professor. Let's not call him Roger no more, because he just
I
really
like it.
went in.
I
He
do.
went in.
Radio
Professor.
Raheem over here
Professor.
doing his damn thing.
Yeah, he went in. I have no words to say because I was just gonna say what he said, and I can't follow that one.
Me neither.
I can't follow that one. What he said.
Well,
What he
shit, I'm
said.
gonna put this on. I'm gonna put this on you, Daphne. How do you feel in
Shoot.
terms of the responses that you were getting online with the pick meisms and the you ain't shit and you doing all this? How do you feel as a response? What do you want to say to the people out there listening? To everybody who's gonna tune into this and be like, "Well, what the fuck she got to say? She a pick me." What is your response to the people?
Just like Gerald said. Hey, look, what Roger said, it was so smooth. Like I said, I'm gonna record it and I'm gonna use it because everything he said is what I would say. Now, if Roger was to post that, women ain't gonna want to hear that. If Derek Jackson was to say what Roger just said, he wouldn't have another book sold.
That's
The
true.
thing about it is, what I love about Roger is he's going to tell you the good, the bad, the ugly. And one thing he said is that if you're not telling a woman what she wants to hear, that's when they call me a pick-me. So if I told a woman, you're right, men ain't shit, I will be Daphne to them. But when I say, well, stop choosing these ain't shit men, then I'm a pick-me. So if they want to sit around and call me that because I'm holding them accountable, I'm okay with that. Because what's sad in the Black community with us Black women is a lot of us do not want to take accountability. We want to point fingers, but black men, why we care about their mental illness? What about us? We go through 9 months. It's not about you. It's about the Black men who need our support, our love. That's why you're single. That's why you have about 30 cats. That's why you have to go on Facebook and post an ass shot just to get a like, just to feel something. I don't have to do that. You'll never find one twerk video, one naked picture. That's not why I go viral. So I've learned that if I don't say something they want to hear, they're going to continue to call me this. And I'm okay with it. I got about 5 good posts I'm going to make this week. And I know that the pick me names are not going to stop today. They're going to keep going. So my advice to these women would be, listen to what Roger just said. Work on yourself. Find out why you can't get a man. Instead of spending that energy calling me a pick me, use that energy to be a better you. Why can't you just reverse that energy? All that hate you have towards me, turn that into love and do something positive with yourself. Because if you got kids at home, how dumb do you look? You telling your kid, yeah, mommy's going to do a year in jail because she threatened somebody's life on Facebook over Meg Thee Stallion. Listen to how that sounds. Listen to how that sounds. So women got to be better. You got to be better, and you got to stop pointing fingers because you're not going to get anywhere in life pointing fingers. But the minute you take accountability, I promise you, you're going to feel a weight lift off your shoulder because there's some weights holding a lot of these women down. I'm talking about big weights. And the minute they take accountability and they figure out, you know what, I'm angry because I can't find a good man. I'm angry because I don't know when to shut up. Let me work on me. And they will get married, maybe. Like Roger said, maybe a man will fight for you and want you to be his wife. Until then, you're still going to be that bitter person on Facebook calling people pick-me's because you don't want to take accountability for your own insecurities. I'm going to leave it at that.
Well, now I gotta follow both of you two heathens. God damn. Fuck y'all. Show over. Bye. No. Nah. Listen. Let me say it like this. I think it's a crazy, 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 crazy time that we live in, where a woman says something that is not only productive, but it tells women how to get ahead and to push forward. It holds a line, a standard that just isn't seen in this day and age. And you call her a pick-me. You make death threats against her. You tell her she's not happily married. You make all of these assumptions all because your life isn't what you want it to be. All of these things are projections that you put on her because she told you things that your mama should have told you. Oftentimes, when these women, or hell, it's even some dudes who come into the chat or into these conversations, these threads, and they say this crazy stuff, it's because they're trying to virtue signal. They're trying to make themselves seem like they're better than the other. Daphne's not telling you be under some man's foot. Daphne's not telling you to be beaten by some man and just take abuse. She's telling you to have some standards. She's telling you to have some accountability. And for you to threaten her, again, completely insane. But I can't go after these motherfuckers. They made some common sense arguments and they made it so eloquently. Said it's ridiculous. All I'm gonna say is at several points during the show, I'm sure you heard me, myself, the habitual line steppers, black men being brutally honest, Roger Report, the breakdown a woman's perspective, or myself, you ain't shit for watching Donnie, say something crazy as hell, and you just said, you know what, they ain't shit. Well, guess what? You ain't shit for watching. Y'all have a lovely evening. I thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe. I'll holler at y'all later.
Later, y'all.
Gerald,
Yes, Daphne, how you doing?
Gerald, when you said later, the echo kept going.
I know they probably spying on my phone because I be talking real deep during the daytime.
Well, Donnie's still live, just so y'all know.
Oh,
Donnie's still live.
Oh, Donnie, okay.
Y'all keep talking. Go ahead. You cut me off. Now I'm playing.
So listen. Let me have this one. Roger, your name will be changed. It will be called the Professor. You getting better and better. I'm like, shit, I gotta back off now. I'm like, what?
Man, I'm just trying to help my people. You know what I'm saying?